All right, y'all. What's up? It's your boy Tevin Jameer back with another episode of the Hate It or Love It podcast. I got my boy Corey in here. Corey, tell him what's up.
What's good?
Man, you know, it was hard as hell getting this episode together because Corey stays in a cave. I couldn't find him for years. I had to I'm just kidding. It was easy.
No, that's kind of how it was. It really was.
Yeah, you was hiding away for years, but all it took was one text, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, well, do you want to get more into the introduction? Do you want me to kind of explain that?
Oh, you hiding away? Well, let's not get to that yet, because you know that's going to be one of our topics. But
right.
What you can do is introduce yourself, and if you want to, tell the story of how we first met.
All right. I'm Corey. That's all I'm gonna say for now. So,
AKA Corey Zay, AKA Twister Flicks, AKA Take Your Bitch.
They don't need to know about all that. For all they know, my name's Gebar. So I'm gonna just,
AKA Twister Flick, AKA Take Your Bitch.
Anyway, so what was it when we first met?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was thinking of the best way to say this all day and last night, thinking of the PG version, thinking of okay, I haven't found a way to talk about that one part.
Hey, look, you could talk about it, but change names,
Okay.
leave out some details, but
all right, so here's the thing, y'all. All right, so I'm gonna set the scene for you. It's 2018, right?
Oh my God.
All right, yeah. 2018,
Actually it was 2017, but yeah.
Yeah.
It was the end of
it was going into 2018.
Yeah.
So it was the literal last day of the semester, and the next day was gonna be winter break and all that. So I remember it was late at night. I'm hanging out with, I think, Josh and my friend at the time, Chase. And we go to Taylor Hall, which Tevin has explained. There's been a lot of adventures in Taylor Hall, as y'all might know a little bit. But this one particular night, right, it just seemed like a mundane thing. We're all just hanging out, just chilling. We go to this place called Ike's, dining hall on campus. That's the first time I actually kind of got to meet Tevin. It was
it was an Ike's?
Yeah.
I thought it was in Josh and Michael's room because we were talking about Empire and shit like that.
That happened later because I remember you were showing me your music. That was the first time I heard your brag song. So then we were there for a little bit. Then we went to their room and we met an interesting character. I'll just call her an interesting character.
You met an interesting character. I already knew how interesting this character was.
Yeah, they knew her. I didn't really know her like that. But I was like, she seems pretty chill. She seems all right. So her name, I'll just say for the sake of this, name's April. All right. So April was, let's just say, very, very promiscuous, in the most PG kind of version, not really. But we were kind of talking about general topics, right?
I also want to make clear that me and Josh were not around when this happened.
Okay, yeah. So
we were all together, but then I think me and Josh went to go do something else real quick.
Yeah, you guys went to split up. Y'all did your thing. Y'all were gone for the next 3 hours or something. I don't know what happened to y'all. And then y'all came at the climax.
Wait. Tell your part of the story, and then we'll circle back to that.
I'm a storyteller. I'm gonna get to it. So we're all alone. It's me and my friend Chase. So just imagine me now, a black dude with, an afro and everything. This tall white dude with a big puffy coat, and then you got this light-skinned black girl with a robe on. All right, not anything under it. I don't know if she did. I don't know. Wasn't looking.
I think you know pretty well she had something under it.
I don't know. So the thing was, we were just kind of like talking about just the most random stuff. We were like, oh, who has the most attractive last name? She was trying to say, oh, if I married one of y'all, like, which one would be like really sexy to have? I'm like, I don't know. And so I'm like, maybe his name would be. So the whole conversation was just weird in general. But then this is when it started to take that turn to no return, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
The subject kind of talks about
The subject.
yeah, basically, have you ever chewed on a Twinkie before? I'll just say that.
Man, just say it.
Really
They don't know who you're talking about. Just say it.
succulent Twinkie with a little filling in the middle, but not too plump.
Have you ever sucked a titty before?
Anyway, and I'm just like, they dabbled. And then Chase was, I kind of not a kind of sore on that, but I've experienced it a little bit. And she just was just like, oh, I got a wager for y'all. We're just like, what? And she's just like, I dare you guys to suck one. And me and him look at each other and we're like, what are you talking about? Like, we're at this point, like, she's drunk a little bit. We think she's maybe a little tipsy. Not like tipsy, but like, okay, maybe it's the alcohol talk or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then she doubles down on it. She's just like, no, just suck a titty. And I'm like, okay. And I laughed to my boy Chase. I'm like, she's joking. So she starts stripping down a pair of clothes. First, she takes off her jacket. And then I'm like, oh, okay, anybody can take off the jacket. It's like one of the sick. I was like, oh, okay, so you did that. That doesn't prove anything. And then she took off her pants. I was like,
wait. I knew the other part, but she took off her pants.
Well, it wasn't like pants, but like she had shorts underneath.
But the whole point is that she taking the bottoms off for just for y'all to do that.
She was trying to entice us. I'll put it like that. She was like,
look, she wanted the choo.
I mean, that's how you want to put it.
Choo, all aboard.
Yeah, that train was already out the station by the time she took those pants off. So right when she did that.
Wait. Before you continue, would you have done it?
No.
You stop lying.
I'm dead serious. I would not have.
Stop lying. She said that y'all could both get on a board.
Well, first of all, I would not do a threesome. Have I thought about it? Yeah. But no, would I do it? In reality, no. I just couldn't do it with another guy. But I'll get.
Okay. I'm friends with her, so I'm not gonna continue too much longer. But continue your story.
All right, but so she took that off, and then we're like, okay, so I think she's kind of serious at this point. But it was until she took off her bra that him and I just looked at each other, and we were just like stunned. We were like, she actually did it. It was almost like a breakthrough in science discovery. Like she actually cracked it or something. She actually took it off. And then she was just like, well, which one of y'all gonna suck it? And then we're just like, we're like nervously laughing. So him and I both kind of like tiptoe because I'm like, well, I'm a man of my word, I'm
a man of my word.
So, I inch over very slowly. I'm looking at both options. Like the left one, it's kind of like the left and right Twix. I'm like, the left one looks very, it's got a lot of feeling in it, but the right one is like crunchy. So I didn't know which one to go for. So then I just zoned on the right. He was already on also. I just realized I outed him.
Man, who cares? He probably don't even watch my shit. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, he went for the left. and it was the weirdest experience, at least one of the weirdest experiences of my life. I don't, not in a bad way, but it's one that I will always say like no one else can relate to me on because it just happened. I closed my eyes the entire time because I was not about to be
Corey,
fucking
we
around.
we were in college. I think a lot of people can relate to you on that one.
Exactly on that one
You and your friend sucking somebody's titty, I mean, there's people out there that could probably relate to you and more.
at the same time.
Did you forget that guys be having sex with the same girl together? Like,
What I'm saying though is like,
if
and
we had a college, I'm pretty sure that has happened.
at Mason,
Yes. You acted like there wasn't a lot of freaks at Mason.
not that I've seen, but anyway.
So this girl wasn't a freak that you're talking about?
Oh, you don't know she was the biggest one I've seen. There's no doubt about that.
What? Wait. She's the biggest freak? Yeah, you haven't seen any freaks for real yet. She's the biggest one.
I mean, I think definitely back then, still now, I'm a pretty wholesome person. Like this story into my introduction does not reflect that at all. Like I'm pretty wholesome for the most part. At least I like to think I am. But going past that part, she put her clothes back on. Me and him both left the room, and we're just like, "What just happened?" Literally, as we're leaving,
we walked in.
Yeah. We as we're walking out, Tevin and Josh were coming in, and how did it happen? I know something. Someone said something about sucking a lollipop.
No, I think I forget exactly how it happened, but you guys kind of like was hinting at what happened, and we were like, "Why are y'all acting weird?" So I think we went back to Josh's and Corey's dorm.
I'm Corey.
Okay, Josh's and Michael's dorm. Yeah,
Nope.
and that's when y'all told us, and at first we didn't believe you, to be honest.
Who would believe that?
It took us a little bit of convincing, even though we did ask her later about it, and she pretty much confirmed that did happen. So,
well, but it's the thing is, a story like this could be mundane, like you said, with the reality of how college is, but it's crazy in the sense that I had just met her that day. I had not planned on doing it like with him or at all. And it was the first time I met you. So earlier that day, it was like, oh, chill, hey, we're talking about, like you said, power, whatnot. And then I end off on,
oh wait, nah. We were talking about Empire. I'll put you on the power later.
All right, you were talking Empire, and then I end off with this guy saying that I sucked this girl's titty or something. What a way to get introduced to
That's how I got introduced to Corey, even though it kind of fits since I always used to say he was a fuck boy. It kind of fits.
No.
Corey, man, no. In our sophomore year of college, you had a new girl every day.
That's not true. Like
the way you said it, that's not true. That's how you know it's true.
No, the thing was, Tevin, I was really bored. Like
that sounds like a fuck boy.
No. Let me explain. The girls I was talking to were really boring. Like they didn't have anything to.
Like helping your case here.
I'm talking about in conversation. Like whenever I would talk to them, like through Snap, or I was trying to get to know them, like they would always give me like one word text messages. They just never had any substance to anything that they said. I was always trying to look for it, but they were very kind of like, what are you doing? How are you? The same, generic mess. But every single time I would explain that, Tevin and Josh would always be like, Corey, look at him. He's boring.
No, Corey, keep it real. You was the fuckboy of the group.
No.
Yeah. Every group got a certain person. Like, Josh was the more thoughtful, thinking person. Me, I was the sweetheart.
You
You,
were not. You were not the sweetheart.
yes, I was, man.
You
I
were
was a
not. How?
sweetheart.
How?
Tell me how I'm not a sweetheart.
You were not.
Can you give me examples?
What makes you say that you're a sweetheart?
Look, okay. Maybe you might be saying that I'm not the sweetheart when it comes to, these guys that be trying to act tough and shit and whatever. Like, of course, I ain't no bitch. But when it comes to the ladies, I'm a sweetheart. I'm a nice guy.
Maybe a hopeless romantic, but not a sweetheart.
What girl at Mason said I wasn't a sweetheart?
I don't know a girl that said you were.
Exactly.
Just because you can't prove it doesn't mean that it's
I'm
true.
nice. I'm nice to the girls.
So was I.
Nah, you was a fuckboy, bruh.
How?
Cause I told you had a new girl every day.
That's
The fact that we made actually that don't help my case either. The fact that we made a pact, but we're not gonna get into that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you want to talk about that?
Okay.
That's a little exposing, but
Okay. Look, the pact isn't exactly as bad. So if you guys ever watched The Wood, Corey, you've seen The Wood, right?
no. What's that?
Really? That's a black classic. But if you guys ever if you guys ever watch The Wood, near the end of the movie, the three main characters make a pact and actually it's more of a bet. They make a bet that one of them are going to lose their virginity first. Us, we did kind of like a little pact like that, but it wasn't like really a bet, like, oh, whoever gets it first gets the brag or whatever. It's like we were kind of almost like what they said in American Pie. It's almost like we were spotting each other, making sure that we doing good. But we didn't only just base it on sex. We did say that we wanted to find like real relationships that semester. Though over time, I felt like Corey just wanted the sex and I wanted a real relationship.
Oh, that is a bold face lie. Like,
how is that a lie?
that is
I ain't gotten nothing but relationships in sophomore year.
The thing was, I've always been someone set on relationships. If that happened, then that happened. But I was never fixated on sex.
Okay, there was only one time that I wasn't focused on relationships in that semester. I know I told you the story.
I think you did.
Do I have to tell it?
You might have to.
Okay, so I actually forget the girl's name, so I can't even make it up. I'll just call her Tammy. Okay, so it was, huh?
Cammy the cam girl.
Cammy, I said Tammy with a T.
Oh my bad. I'm already thinking of my don't.
Oh
excuse
my
me. Sorry.
So I was on Tinder. I mean, I barely used Tinder around the time, but I was on Tinder. I matched with this girl. I didn't really feel like talking first, but she was like texting me here and there throughout the day. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if you remember that one girl I started talking to in my sophomore year. I mean, and in the second semester of our sophomore year. I don't think she watches my shit, so I'll just say her name, Hannah.
Well, I'm thinking of the other one.
I'm not thinking of that. I'm not talking about that Hannah. I'm talking about the other. Okay, you haven't. Obviously, you don't know who I'm talking about. But so Hannah was the girl that I was trying to take seriously. She was a nice girl and whatever. But I'm over here.
Hold on. Is this the girl that I didn't remember her name, but I remember other persona. Remember, like April. Apparently, there was a slap involved.
Huh?
You did something. You were trying to talk to this girl. This was like, or was that freshman year?
I think you're thinking of when Hannah slapped me in front of Tamia.
Yeah, that was her name.
Okay, in context, I ain't do no fuck boy
Oh,
shit. I
let's
made a
little.
joke. Hold on. In context, I ain't make no fuck boy shit. I just made a joke about Hannah's pimple and she slapped me in front of the girl I was trying to get with. That's it.
Really, that was the reason she did that.
Yeah, me, Tamia, Josh, and Hannah was playing pool. To me, I mean, Hannah made a joke about how I missed one of the shots. So then I made fun of her pimple and then she slapped me in front of everybody.
Dang, I thought that was like it was a little bit more like you actually did something or
No,
wow.
I would never do anything to Hannah.
No, like not like that, but like you said something that she really, really didn't like. Like
Oh, nah. But okay, back to the story. Now that was our friend Hannah. This is a different Hannah. So
also real
this
quick,
Hannah,
you
go
realize
ahead.
that because just I want to make sure for time purposes, you want to like keep going with the section, and you want to keep it moving because
Man, we'll move it
this
on
section,
at we'll move it on after this story. Let me finish my story, man. All
I'm
right.
trying to keep your schedule structure.
Hey, you don't even know what my schedule is, so you can't even tell me. But so okay. So there was this girl, Hannah, that I was trying to get with, and I matched with this other girl on Tinder, aka Tammy. So me and Hannah was supposed to go on a date that night, and Tammy is over here texting me. And for the most part, I'm ignoring Tammy all day. That is until now mid date with Hannah. I'm getting messages from Tammy talking about how her roommate, wasn't her roommate left for the night or left to go to a party and she wanted to invite me over. And I'm like, and she kept like begging me, like, oh, Tevin, come over before my roommate come back. And I'm like, you really want me to come over, don't you? So
I think so.
she's like, yeah. So Hannah, I'm sorry if you're watching this. I lied to Hannah and I was like, I got some homework to do. I can walk you back to your door.
So this is the sweetheart that we were talking about, right?
Everybody
It's the
messes up
sweet.
once.
No,
Everybody
no.
messes up once.
Y'all see? No.
Just once. Everybody messes up just once.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so I walk Hannah back to her dorm. I go over Tammy's dorm and we start to, make out and whatever. She gets on top of me. Next thing you know, her phone starts ringing. And that was her roommate basically telling her that she's about to come back from the party. And she kicked me out after that. And she's like, oh, I'll probably text you tomorrow. And I'm like, okay. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, she got on top of me. Once I smelled my shorts, that shit smelled like the closest fish market ever. But that shit smelled like the Camden fish markets. But
Why
okay,
do I feel like I vaguely remember this story actually?
because I know I definitely told you and Josh this story, but I got back to my dorm the next day. I was waiting for a message back. Sees that the bitch unmatched me. And then it was months later when we went to that next town down. Is that what the group called?
Next time down. What's that?
Remember in sophomore year, like near finals period, like some R&B group from YouTube came to perform.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when we were there, whatever the group's name was, when we were there, I saw her and it looked like she was with a guy. So to this day, I'm not really sure if that was really her roommate calling her or maybe a potential boyfriend.
Wow. Well, you might have said that back in sophomore year, but I don't know if I got the entire story. So it's kind of new to me.
Yeah. So there you go. You expose yourself. I expose myself a little bit, but that was my only one mess up. But the funny thing is, it was me, Josh, and Corey that made this pact. And we didn't include our other friend. I don't know if I should say their name, but we didn't include our other friend because we were like, man, they ain't getting no action this year. Come to find out that they were the first one to lose it before the rest of us did. So it's like, though I like an assist on that because he would have never got it if it wasn't for me. I
What
want
did
the
you do?
assist
How?
because he didn't care about her. He didn't care about the girl until I said something about her. Remember?
No, what'd you say? You told
Remember,
me no.
okay, when me and Josh went to, like I said, I'm not trying to make it obvious who I'm talking about. When me and Josh went with this friend somewhere and
Okay.
I saw the girl, that's when this friend started paying attention to the girl.
Mhm.
And then once me and the girl like didn't work out, he started or they started talking shit about me to get with her.
Okay, now I vaguely remember. Is this? Oh, this was around October, right?
That yeah, that's when we went to, the
The
thing with the
Halloween
friend.
party, right? Y'all were at Teletubbies.
Shut up.
Oh, sorry. Oh man.
Okay, whole point is he only got with her because he was talking shit about me, but we ain't gonna get onto that story.
Okay.
We need to keep it moving. But so
This is
one
gonna be
thing,
a good podcast. I can tell.
yeah, this is one thing I do want to ask you though, Corey,
Yeah.
is now you had your YouTube channels, Corey's A.
Yeah. Yeah.
You also had Twist a Flick, and had a lot of popular videos, a lot of hits. So my
I guess you want to
thing,
call it that. You want to call it that.
it was hits. People was checking out, especially your Twist a Flick channel. People was really fucking with that one. So I think the question that's on my mind, and maybe returning people's mind if they're watching this podcast, is what happened to your channels? Where have you gone? Are you going to keep making videos?
Hmm.
What's going on here?
Yeah. I mean,
This is a Tevin Jameer exclusive.
okay. Um, just to give y'all some context for those who don't know my channel, back in the day, more specifically around 2017 or 2018 is when I was like, let me try the YouTube thing myself. A lot of the times I did reaction videos and, I did kind of just a mix of different content. And then I had another channel that was specifically for editing, like making like memes and funny stuff. Um, and it was something that I actually enjoyed doing, but it was very, very time consuming. Like I remember one time that I would spend like 10 hours at the dining hall. People that came to the dining hall breakfast came at 10 o'clock, were like, you still here, dude? I'm like, yeah, but the food's good though. So well, at least that day it was. The other days, not so much. But my point is, it was something that I think served its time for the time that I was a student. And I did have some videos here and there that I feel like kind of, I wouldn't say gained traction, but was mildly popular for the subscribers I had, I think is a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
But going into the pandemic, as I'm sure everybody can tell their own pandemic story, I kind of was consistent for a little bit. I had a bunch of little videos I was doing, vlogging. Somewhere down the line, I just kind of was like, this is cool, but I want to actually do self-improvement things. And that's what I did. Not going into the story too much, but I was dating someone similar to Tevin at the time. Also had a breakup, literally right around the start of the pandemic.
Wait,
And
was that the one that I met before?
yeah, you
Oh,
met her.
okay.
So it was really, really tough. A lot, like it's a crazy story. I'll maybe tell you in another time because we just don't have the time here.
Yeah.
But pretty much, I would kind of use YouTube just to talk about some of that stuff and how I was feeling and all that. But then I completely cut YouTube out, and I wanted to focus on me. And a lot of people say, "Oh, let me focus on myself. Let me do
Mm-hmm.
self-improvement stuff." I took that and I ran with it. Matter of fact, I flew with it. Matter of fact, I went to space with it because I always wanted to learn a bunch of languages. So I took it upon myself and also work out. I made a whole rigorous schedule every single day pretty much until like this past year, summer is where I kind of stopped a little bit for a whole almost 2 years. No, more than 2 years. Pretty much every single day I was working out for about 3 or 4 hours, and
Mhm.
I was doing about 3 or 4 hours of learning languages. I was learning Spanish, I was learning French, Japanese, and Italian. And I was doing that rigorously. I would do 100 pull-ups, like 100, 200 push-ups, do a bunch of jump
So you
roping.
was out here getting swole, huh?
I mean, I was trying to, but I was pretty much on hibernation mode. So I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want no distractions. Tevin, you already know I'm not the big social media person, so I was never
Mhm.
really on anything. So
Bro, that shit used to feel weird because like there would be random moments, like random times I would post a story and all of a sudden I would see that picture of you there. And I was like, wait, Corey is still uses this? Like
every once in a while, I
it
would get
was
on.
so very far between.
Every once in a blue moon, I would kind of like come out my cave a little bit, like, wow, the air's nice, and then I'll just come back. But yeah, to I guess simplify it, just I was on my own journey. I still am on my own journey of self improvement, and that's kind of what you touched on your last video with Elijah. Is especially when it comes to the relationships, which I'm not going to get into that, but
Not
just the
yet, not
sense
yet.
of not needing anyone. I had a long time of getting away from that period of being with my ex, similar to you, and it was just a time of growth. So that's kind of a little bit of the story. It's a lot more to it, but for the sake of time, that's just kind of how things worked out. So
So the main thing is that I want to know, do you plan on coming back to YouTube
um,
anytime soon?
I think what a lot of people say to returns is that the right thing comes to me, like this
Come
is
on,
the
Corey.
right thing, hits
You
the fan.
gotta feed these streets, man.
Who am I feeding? What?
Hey, no, because you being a little like you being okay. It's good that you're being humble, but you're downplaying yourself a little too much. Your videos was actually getting traction. I'm not saying that you were like showing up in the YouTube recommended page, but like people was obviously watching and fucking with your videos.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I did return, it would have to be something new. Like something that I really feel YouTube either sorely lacking on or no one's done it before.
Well, one thing I can recommend, but I mean this is being done right now, which is why I'm recommending it to you. I mean, you're talking about how you're doing self-improvement and stuff like that. That seems to be a really big thing on YouTube right now. Like there's a lot of like every time I go on YouTube, I'm always seeing recommendations for like self-improvement channels and like people talking about like, mental health and stuff like that. So, I mean, if that's what you're working on, it ain't really going to be much like you having to put in a lot of hard work. It's just you being honest with your viewers. And
Yeah, but
I know that with you, it's gonna be genuine because we know there's some content creators that be faking their shit, but I know you would be genuine.
yeah, I mean, the thing is, I did think about that before, like actually recording maybe workout videos and there were moments I actually did do that. I had almost kind of started on a whole me learning French in 6 months kind of thing, or me doing this. And
Mhm.
what I came to realize was I wanted the journey to be for me. If anything, like I just didn't want to be the person editing it and it being this entire project because then that was going to lose focus on my goal of just doing me. I didn't want to do this for nobody else. And the thing is, the best testimony and the best kind of like message you can put out there is the way that you live your life, the way that you conduct yourself. That's kind of me being a walking YouTube video every day. Is me practicing what I'm preaching. I can get on YouTube today and be like, guys, I'm going to be doing this and doing that. And yeah, like it could be like I could stick to it, but all that pressure also, like I don't want any pressure from anyone else besides myself. And I feel like with YouTube, it would kind of, I would always feel like I'm having to please or I'm having to serve someone else. It's good and keeping me accountable, but it's just a little bit overwhelming at times. I honestly don't like all the attention. Sometimes it's nice getting a like here or a comment that's positive, like, hey man, like I like what you're doing, keep it going.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think this is just something I do for me. Uh, if there is a possibility of returning, I think I think it would be like now I really sound like a uh, not like a rapper, R&B singer or something, because it'd probably be features or something that I would probably be like on this video or on
Wow.
like other people's videos. I'll do a cameo, I'll do a feature, but me
This,
doing my own
this
stuff.
motherfucker think he Andre 3000 only doing features and shit.
Nah, but who knows? Who knows? Like maybe a couple months from now, a year from now, something something will happen. I'll just say that.
I mean, but definitely when you do get back on, we gotta have you back on the podcast so you could promote your shit. But
I don't know what I'm promoting.
huh?
I'm gonna just promote my life.
I mean, it's your channel, you just promote it. I mean,
Honestly,
if you really think about it, YouTubers who, record their lives and shit, that's basically them promoting their lives.
yeah, but see, and when I say this, like I know it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but when I was doing YouTube back in 2018 and 2017, it was just very different. Like the world's not the same anymore. Like
Obviously.
no, but what I mean is just the entire culture. Like it used to be easier to, let's say, if I wanted to just put a simple reaction video or just a simple kind of meme video. But it feels like you're just competing with everybody. And
That's
you
how it
can't,
always felt.
yeah, but yeah, I know that there was always that presence there. But it felt like at least if you were a small YouTuber, you could still kind of get your name out there. You could still kind of have a little following. But
Hmm.
it's like even if you have something that's, cool to watch or nice to watch, you just gonna get demolished by whoever's the next best thing in the algorithm or the recommendations or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't small YouTubers that make it. There's a lot of them that do. And they're consistent and they grind and they get big. That's how they do it.
Hmm.
But it's just I think as time goes on, it gets more and more demotivating to be in that kind of culture if you are starting out now versus if you already had started like years ago and had a foundation to work on. So I don't know. That's just kind of my right with it.
I can see that. Though the one thing I do want to say is, put your Black Panther review back up. Put that shit back up because there's times I try to go back and watch that and like it's not there. And do you know how awkward it feels looking at my Black Panther like when we were doing the what's it called? The vlog of us setting up the Black Panther review. And here I am promoting it like, oh, we go to Corey's page to watch the Black Panther review. And then the link just takes you nowhere. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Put it back up, man.
When you could have just like told me to put it back up. I didn't.
No,
Well, honestly, I didn't even like. I knew that we made that video, but I kind of forgot. Obviously, that people would go immediately directly to that video. Um, I mean, yeah, if you
Okay,
want me to put it back up.
okay, to be fair to you, I look at my analytics. Nobody watched that Black Panther vlog, so but still, sometimes I like looking at our old videos, especially like back then, because it's almost like reliving the past a little bit.
Well, see, that's another reason why I don't go back to YouTube. Because honestly, I know I look like I'm very comfortable on camera, but like I really hate being on camera. And I think when I go back and look at my old videos, I really cringe. It doesn't even have to be something that I did that's embarrassing, but I'm just like, why did I say this? Or why did I like move like that, like right there at that one
Mhm.
frame? And like it's not like in a self-deprecating way where I'm like every little thing I do, I'm like nitpicking. It's just
Mhm.
I think I'm just really conscious on how I'm appearing. Um, but with that being said, even in this podcast right now, I don't care. Like I'm not cautious to the point of being exposed. I'm not cautious to the point of saying something I'm going to regret. I mean, literally the way I introduced myself was sucking a titty. So obviously, I can kind of say whatever and not care.
Yeah, after that point, like worried about your appearance is kind of out the door now.
But my point is, it's like I just, like I said, we'll see. One day in the future, we'll see.
Okay, but since we got to get on to the rest of these topics, um, one of the shows that now we mentioned this earlier. One of the shows that me and Corey watch a lot is Power. And if you watched earlier in the podcast, y'all know I'm a huge fan of Power. And like I said, I ain't talked to Corey in like years, and there's been a lot of Power content that's been coming out since the last time we talked. Like the last time me and Corey really talked like that was when the original Power ended and they were just showing previews of the spinoffs. Now we got season 2 for both Ghost and Raising Kanan.
But season
And
three coming.
yeah, season 3 for both of them on the way. And now we're waiting for you know, season 3 of Ghost to come back on. We got season 2 of Force. I don't know if you watch BMF, but BMF is on.
That's
So
the
a
only one I
lot.
don't.
What you ain't watch BMF? Okay, we'll talk about that another
'Cause I thought it
time.
was
But
its own separate thing. I didn't think it was connected.
oh
So
yeah, now it is its own thing, but I mean because it also is created by 50, a lot of people also watch that too.
mm,
Which I think it's good. I would honestly put BMF over a lot of the Power shows, but that's another conversation for another time. So I kind of want to go through each Power spinoff and get your perspective on it, like have like a little discussion on how you feel about each spinoff.
sure.
So let's go by books. What's your overall thoughts on book 2?
Overall, I think book two is not as bad as a lot of people were thinking it was going to be. Like we talked about before, you think of a show with Tariq as the main character, you just think it's automatically trash.
Who, me?
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying
Oh, okay.
people in general, but like went into that show thinking that it was going to be bad. I gave
Mhm.
it the benefit of the doubt. And the first season, like I'm not saying it was like amazing, but I did enjoy myself for the first season. I thought the characters, like there was Tariq, there was what's his name? Zeke, Drew.
Oh, I know Zeke had to be your favorite character. How dumb he used to act.
No, I didn't. Well, I was kind of neutral with Zeke, honestly. He
Well,
was
I love Zeke. He always used to act dumb as hell. What, that's not my mom, right, Auntie?
he had the second season.
Zeke, that's
He
your fucking mother.
is really like he doesn't have much of a personality besides I'm a basketball player trying to make it to the NBA. Like,
I mean, to be fair, ain't that how most NBA prospects be acting?
I mean, yeah, but I was
The
like,
the basketball players around Mason, they weren't that bright either. So I mean,
dang. Tevin, you better be glad you don't go to Mason anymore. They probably come and beat you up for saying
You
that.
acting like I would have gave a fuck.
But anyway, like I thought the first season was good. The second season I feel like was also good. I don't know. It was better in the second half of the season. Everything with Mecha was just really weird. Like he always acted like he was like, I'm gonna be your man. I'm gonna like whenever he was talking to his what was her name?
Kane.
No, his
Monet.
Monet's and she just always like looks mad. Like she just looked like someone always pissed her off. Even when someone's just saying, hey, like it's been a good day today. Like what's like
Monet's always mad. She's
like
always
always
snapping on someone.
yeah, but like for Mecha though, he was like a cool, interesting character to introduce in the second season, having this really high profile informant, which I thought was a pretty good spin on.
And I like how they connected it back to,
Lobos,
the original power. Yeah, the original power and Lobos. Because if you really think about it, Mecha caused everything in the power universe to happen.
But it's always that kind of thing where that they were not planning that far ahead.
Oh, well, obviously, they weren't thinking of spinoffs until like season 5.
But no, I think they planned it well. And then, but going back to Tariq, because I probably should have started with him. Him in general within the show. The thing is, I did not mind Tariq in Power until it got to like season 4. And
that's when he started acting bad. So
no, but even then, like people hated Tariq, and I didn't necessarily.
People really didn't start hating Tariq until Raina died.
Yeah,
like people was annoyed with Tariq, but then once Raina died, that's when like people was like, I hate this kid.
Oh no, but that's the thing. Like I actually kind of liked Tariq before that happened, but people were annoyed with him. I at least kind of liked him, and then when he did that, there was like okay, and then in the first season, I just felt like he just was doing stupid stuff every single time, trying to
the first first season of Ghost.
Yeah, like for no reason. I mean, like he's trying to be his dad so bad, and it's obvious.
Okay, now that's how I guess I'll say how my quick thoughts on it. Like Ghost overall, I said it to you. Like it's a okay, it's an okay show. And season 1 was kind of like what you said. I wouldn't say it was a great predecessor to Power, but at least it was enjoyable. Successor. But I would say it's enjoyable. Season 2 was better, but not really that much in my opinion. Like it's an enjoyable show, but I wouldn't say it's nowhere near the best of all the Power shows. But as far as Tariq, this might be a controversial opinion, but I hated Tariq in the original Power, but I never denied him having his own show. The only thing that made me question him having his own show is a lot of people hated it. So how would you get, the views and the ratings for it? But people did show out and people did wind up enjoying it. And actually nowadays, I see a lot of people that actually wound up liking Tariq. But here's the thing. I did hate Tariq, but the reason I never doubted him having his own show is he is genuinely one of the most interesting characters in the Power universe. Like whether you love him or hate him, you have to admit that he is one of the most interesting characters.
Well, see, also I like how you had to do the little hate it or love it,
Okay, I wasn't thinking about it.
You always had to put it in there somehow. But with Tariq, though, I think a lot of people tuned in just because they hated him so much. They wanted to see Tariq suffer and go through things that he should have gone through in the original Power series. If you're asking me, I personally would have rather a show about Dre. Like that would have been fire. That would have this dude
I
snitching
would.
and just
I
going.
wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to show about Dre, but I would have wanted to see Dre in book two. I kind of want to see how the book two cast interacts with Dre. Like a Kane and Dre moment, that shit kind of would have been crazy.
Oh, but Dre is just. I just had the image of that fire scene in the jail.
Guard, guard.
Ah, ah.
Yo,
When but I like with other characters though, because even with that, you're always referencing something from Power, right?
Mhm.
Like it's not that the characters don't have any personality. They do, but it's always overshadowed by all the characters that we already saw in Power. Like even with Kane, you can look at him and like, oh yeah, no, Kane is, yeah, he's pretty hard. He does what he does, and I mean he's pretty standout. But if you're thinking of Kane in comparison to someone like Tommy, or in comparison to someone like Kanan, or any of them, like he or even Tariq, like he was trying to match his level just because of the fact that he didn't off his dad. And Manoy was like, "Hey man, if you want to be like Tariq, if you want to
Hey,
be the
look,
big bad boy."
that's one thing I kind of hate about book two because season one, Kane was my boy. I rocked with Kane, but then in season two, like his obsession with Tariq went like through the roof to the point where I was like, man, fucking kill Kane, man. I'm done. I like, even though I like season two more, season two put me in a mode where I wound up not liking really any of the characters. Like the only character that I really rock with at this point is Brayden. Like I'm kind of at a point where Tariq, I'm just gonna root for him because he's the main character. So I gotta root for him by default. But fuck Effie, fuck Diana, fuck Monet, fuck
Okay, wait, hold
Kane.
on, hold on, hold on. Diana, though. Well, here's the thing with Diana. She is
She's
just
dirty. Michael knew it. Diana's dirty.
no, she was stupid.
You didn't. I don't think you
No,
got the
I got the
joke.
reference. I got the reference. But because Diana was also like one of the love interests, right?
Yeah.
I just felt like she was dumb. She literally every single time would try to fall for this man Tariq, and always wonder why like he's never giving her the time of day. I did feel bad for her for I don't feel like she should have gone out like that, but yeah,
Who?
Effie, huh?
Diana?
Yeah.
What do you mean going out like that?
Am I thinking of the right person?
You're
Oh no,
thinking
no,
of Lauren. You're
no,
thinking of Lauren.
Lauren, yeah.
I felt
Yeah, too
so
many
bad
girls.
for Lauren, man. I felt so bad for Lauren. I was so mad. And especially since you could see low key Tariq liked Lauren the most out of all of them.
He liked her the most, but he didn't treat her good at all. Like he always
See,
kind of kept her hanging. He always just said,
if
"Oh,
you ask me, when I see the fans like debating who Tariq should have been with, if you ask me, he shouldn't have been with any of them
oh,
because
I agree."
Lauren was the nice girl, but here's the thing: like you can find a nice girl that knows you're a drug dealer, but still, hold it down for you. Lauren would have never been able to hold it down for him. Diana is too manipulated. Yeah, she's too manipulating, and she's gonna service her family before she serves Tariq. And then Effie, she's just too untrustworthy. Like, yeah, everybody always tries to justify Effie, like, she knows Tariq the most, she gets him the most. Just because someone gets you the most doesn't mean that you guys should be together.
Honestly, I think they literally took that one chess match that they had in Power and was just like, "Oh my god, this is power couple right here." Like they're playing chess together. You got a king and queen right here, and then they brought her back in Power Book Two, and just like, "Oh my god, like why aren't they not getting back together? They're so similar."
Look,
She's like the
I'm
male
gonna
version of him,
I'm gonna give a quick early prediction. Season 3, I think Tariq's gonna kill Effie. I think that's my prediction because let's keep it real. we all know there's a reason why they didn't let Tariq find out what happened in the finale of season 2. I feel like he's gonna beef with Braden, and I feel like if it's not Tariq, somebody's gonna wind up killing Effie because of what happened in the last season with Lauren.
I do think. I mean, you think that Tariq has a possibility to die in this season?
Nah, they ain't gonna do that to Tariq.
Yeah, I feel like
Because here's the thing with power shows. Like, obviously, we seen with the original Power, main characters can die, but because they're the main character, I don't think it's going to happen until like near the end of the show. Which I actually have a theory on what's going to happen with Tariq.
oh, go ahead. Let me hear.
Okay, so from what we've seen so far, I mean, the cast always tries to deny this, but I believe that, or I got to see how season 3 is going. But from what I've seen so far with season 1 and 2, I somewhat believe that Yaz is somewhat gonna end up like Tariq, and Tariq is gonna end up in Ghost position. Because if you look at, hold on, let me explain.
I'm not. Go ahead.
Because if you look at how Ghost has been going so far, Tariq has pretty much been acting like Ghost. They kind of making him go through the same story that Ghost has been through. And if you look at how Tariq and Yaz talk to each other, Tariq kind of does what he hated his dad for doing. He would like say little lies because Yaz is young, but I feel like eventually he'll explain it later. But pretty much what I'm trying to say is, I think, because let's keep it real, Tasha's gonna die at some point. And when Tasha dies, it's gonna be Yaz by herself. And when you look at how Raina died, Ghost died, Tasha dies, and all you got is Tariq, who wound up becoming the lying drug dealer that pretty much his dad is. Like, he knows he's the worst parts of his dad. So it's like, I feel like it's going to come first full circle to where Yaz is going to wind up being like Tariq and probably kill him.
Well, let me say this. That is actually something I heard before. I don't think
Really?
that's far. Yeah, no, that's not. I
haven't heard much people say that, to be honest.
No, I watched a video on it where he didn't go like in depth with it, but he was saying that he was thinking Yaz would be that person to do it. Here's what I think though, like, well, I don't think it's something that's far-fetched. I hope that they don't do that. That just would be so cliche.
I mean, if you haven't noticed, Ghost is somewhat cliche because like everybody's kind of like the old cast.
But I mean, I'll put it like this.
Look, here's the thing. I get why you say that, because honestly, I don't want them to rehash everything they did in the original show. That.
It's like, at least with Tariq, we actually got to know him as a character, I think, more. With Yaz, for one, oh no, I'm thinking of Cash. Well, I'm thinking of that terrible kid actor.
We are going to get to know Yaz a little bit more, though, because, there's a reason they made her change actresses, and they kind of bumped up her age a little bit. Like, I feel like this isn't the end we're going to see of her.
I don't know.
Like... Oh, yeah, and speaking of Cash, he's fucking... Yo, I remember when season 6 was coming out, you would always say that I was going too hard on him because I would roast him every time he came on screen.
No, he was horrible. He was a horrible kid actor. Like, listen, there are kid actors. If you're a kid actor, keep doing what you're doing. All right, you're gonna make it someday.
Oh my god.
But
well, if they're kid actors, they already did make it.
No, but the thing is, don't listen to what I have to say. Cash, he was on Power. What? A lot of kids can't say that.
They probably low on kids nowadays. Look, when you got the finale came out the same year in 2019 as movies like Us, where half the main cast was kid actors and they outacted him. Then you got Elisa Marie, who I think is younger than Cash's actor, and she was a way better actress than he was. There is no reason why Cash should have been that horrible. We literally watched Tariq and Raina pop out of their mom's pussy and grow up on the show.
What? What that imagery?
Okay, but my whole point is that Tariq and Raina were younger when they started Power, and we seen them grow up. Which, actually, no, I can't say what I'm about to say, but pretty much, a lot of the kid actors that's been on Power has been way better than Cash has ever been. They mistakenly casted him.
I feel like they just didn't care because he was not a pivotal. The only time he played a pivotal part of anything is when there was the whole thing with what was her name, his mom.
Lakeisha.
Yeah, with Lakeisha, and she was thinking about leaving and all that. That's the only time he had like any like main purpose. Besides that, like Elisa Marie, Tariq, Raina, everything. The other kid actors make sense. Like they had other things to do. They had a higher purpose. Even Raina's situation. I mean, I know she died, but her story like impacts everybody, or impacted like so many people on the original Power. Cash just has a nice name, and it's not even that nice. He doesn't even have Cash. They had to leave. Like,
Oh my god.
But
But
we are getting so off topic. We were supposed
yeah,
to.
I was about to say, before we move on to book 3, do you have any like predictions for season 3 of Ghost?
My prediction is that Lorenzo is going to be killed. It's either going to be by Kane or Monet.
If you ask me, I think Kane is going to die this season. But Lorenzo, I mean, I feel like, see, I want to say that Lorenzo is gonna die because of what he did to Zeke, but then it's kind of a little too obvious if they do that.
Yeah,
Because
but I feel like that's why.
Power has been known to give like really good twists. Like season 2, I would have never guessed that Monet was really Zeke's mom the whole time, which in hindsight, when you watch older episodes, you should have picked up on that. But it's like usually Power is good with doing twists, and I feel like it would be too. But then again, in Raising Kanan, Howard being Kanan's dad, that was obvious, and they still went with that. So okay, yeah, maybe Lorenzo may die.
I like how you were like really not a fan of it. And you're like, well, like they kind of did here, so all right.
No, cool. You know that's how I am. I have arguments with myself, and like you don't even have to
I
argue
let you
with
do
me.
your thing. I wasn't even going to interrupt. I was going to just sip my water with nothing in it. And
But yeah, I do think overall that Kane is gonna die. If not Kane, it's getting to a point now where some of the one of the Tejadas is gonna have to die. I don't count Zeke because he's not really in the game, but one of the Tejadas is gonna have to die at some point.
I don't think it's going to be Drew because
Yeah, they're hyping up Drew too much for him to be killed off.
he looks like he's going like he really took a dark turn in this last season with that whole gunshot wound. So.
I will say if they kill off Drew anytime soon, that will be one of their biggest mistakes because there's so much potential to keeping Drew alive.
Oh, there's a lot of.
But see, that's why I think Kane is going to be the one to die because Diana, we're seeing her like get built up more. Drew, they making him seem like the darkest out of everybody. Which, okay, not to sound fucked up or anything, but what's up with these like crime shows making the gay sons the most realest ones out of everybody? Haven't you kind of noticed it? Haven't you kind of noticed it? If you look at Empire and you look at Power Book 2, everybody will always downplay them because they're gay, and then they wind up being the fucking craziest out of all the kids.
Yeah, but see, with Drew though,
I just find that as a funny coincidence. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I feel like they're pushing him to be like that though. Like he's doing what he has to do. But if he construes a life with like what was the dude's name?
Oh, Everett.
Yeah, like if he
Which
could shoot up,
he should not choose Everett because Everett's a snitch.
oh yeah,
But
he's not gonna
like
be.
there's other guys out there for you, Drew. Like Everett, you could do better than Everett. Fuck no. See, all he saw was that NBA money about to come in, and he was like, I got you.
But
Look, Drew, there's a whole team of people. There's other people besides Everett. Don't go with his ass, his snitch ass.
I'll see. You can't say that because I'm thinking of like in the context when it comes to women, and they're talking about getting the train wreck. Now we're talking about Drew, which she would be
Right.
fine with the basketball team.
Oh, wait, what? Are you talking about our friend getting the
No, I
train?
mean you said that he would
Or
probably like have his, I don't know, his selection. You know, like anyone
look,
else.
I know I said there was other guys to pick from. I ain't say he had to get a train, you know. Look, I ain't never say all that. Hey, look, y'all watching or y'all listening, y'all heard him. I ain't saying that.
Y'all can rewind it back if y'all want us some
I
clarification.
said something about our friend getting the trade, not Drew getting the trade.
Shoot.
Okay, let's get on to Raising Kanan. So for me, I'm gonna say real quick, Raising Kanan is actually my favorite spinoff. And if it keeps going in the direction that it's going in, it might wind up being better than the original Power for me, to be honest.
Raising Kanan honestly got a lot of hate, so much so that I feel like a lot of people actually put it as the worst. Like I remember looking at a poll and reading comments, and they were like, "Oh man, Raising Kanan is so boring," or like
But
it's so
see,
drag to get through. Or
what pisses me off with that is I especially noticed it in season two. Like season one, I would see people here and there saying that it was boring, but it was still getting a lot of love. But then season two, that's when I seen like real hate because they were taking their time to set up, the first half of season two. And then season like the second half was like, straight killing and shit like that. But then when okay, obviously we've been talking spoilers, but when Famous killed the one guy after that whole episode where like three people died in that one single episode, like people were saying that there was too much going on. So I'm like, at first y'all was saying it was too slow. Now y'all saying it's moving too fast. I think this is just a thing of Power fans, and this isn't even just with Raising Kanan. I just noticed this with every Power show. Like Power fans don't really know what they want until it happens. Because they always say something that they want, but then when something happens, then they start complaining about the thing that they asked happening. You know what I mean?
no, I get what you're trying to say. I think my take on it is, yeah, it did drag on some parts, but I do feel like it was necessary. It's like for instance, like Jukebox, to get her mom to kind of come back and to tell that story of like this is how she was affected with that traumatic experience of like that was really hard to watch in a sense. Like they were trying to force her to watch, like I guess the sex and whatnot. I was like, what?
They were basically for see that's the crazy thing, man. They supposed to be Christians, but they think they're gonna make her straight by like showing her porn. Like
Porn.
that's
That's what
not
I was like, what?
no, but
This is straight
see
porn.
the thing. Look, now when people say that the show drags on, it's not saying like me saying this stuff isn't me saying like you can't have that opinion because like I will admit there is some things that I felt like dragged on. Season two did make some decisions that I didn't like the season two finale. I was kind of mad that none of the Thomas family died, but
Really?
I think the one thing that a lot of people like need to remember, at least when it comes to Kanan and Jukebox, they need to remember like they not even fully in the game yet, and it takes time for people to become the people that they were in the original Power. So
Yeah.
when it comes to Kanan and Juke, I can't say that you guys can say like, oh, it's dragging on for them because it takes time to become who they are. Because we seen Kanan and Jukebox, they were some fucked up people. And they ain't just gonna become fucked up people just after what they experienced in the first 2 seasons.
Well, see, for Kanan right now, I'm just taking him more as a brat. Like, and that could be obviously because he is a teenager. Like, you're looking at Kanan like, why is he, so angsty? Like, why is he like, yeah, he's a teenager. He's not an adult yet. He hasn't really been through a lot, but he kind of has in the sense that he's killed someone who is his father, who he didn't know, who's a cop, and he has lies being given to him by his mom, like every single episode.
So
and, no, and let me say something about Rock is she
wait. Do you like Rock? Because that seems to be a very controversial point on whether people like her or not.
I liked her in the first season, but
really?
Yeah.
I love Rock from season 1 to now. Like I still love her.
The thing about Rock that really and it's why I didn't like Ghost is because of I think she reminds me of Ghost. That whole thing of lying, like, and not even like lying to protect people, like just lying for no reason. Like there's sometimes.
Hey, look, Ghost for the most part. I know Ghost did make some empty lies, but Ghost did lie a lot to help people in the end. So you gotta at least give him that. Rock, she just be lying just to lie.
Well, hey, then that's helps the case of her being worse. Like,
okay, but
it's also this though. She, I really like. She always has the audacity to say whatever to anybody without any consequences, and it was the same energy that Ghost was doing in the last season. The whole thing when she was like,
season, the last episode.
Well, yeah, I'm saying the last
Ghost didn't become arrogant until his last day on Earth, but okay, I see your point.
But like, she really, Cloud lose cheeks. It was like, I own you. Like what?
Okay, am I the only person that laughed at that scene?
No, it was hilarious.
No, because here's the thing: that scene, she was acting like her acting was amazing in that scene. But it's just okay. I don't like saying this word, but it's the way she said "nigga." Like that part killed me. How she said it. Corey.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, I thought I got a little worried. I thought it froze.
It did freeze.
What, me?
It might have been on my end.
Yeah, on my screen you froze. But like I was saying, I don't like saying this word, but it's how she said nigga in that scene that had me dead. She's like, I own you, nigga. I'm like, what? I'm like, what?
No, it definitely was not something I was expecting her to say. Like but it was that interaction, and then it was every interaction that she had, like where whoever the crime boss of the Italian group,
Sal Berselli, I think.
Yeah, Sal Berselli or something. And obviously, like, I get she's trying to stand her ground, and that even though there was a death on their end, she's like, oh well, that's your thing. But she was being very like adamant on saying, you're not getting anything from us. Like we're not.
But see, you saying that is giving me more reason, and I guess I should explain this now. Why I was mad in the finale that none of the Thomas family died. Because here's the thing. The show is about, ghosts. I mean, not ghosts, about how Kanan and Jukebox became the people that they were. But here's the thing. When they grew up, they didn't have their uncles and their mom or dad with them. Like eventually Marvin, Lou, and Rock is going to die.
Marvin was my favorite character in this season, by the way. Just want to put that out.
Yeah, Marvin's funny as hell. But I like eventually they're gonna have to die. So it's like you guys are kind of prolonging the inevitable, especially when I'm someone that's big on story. And I feel like one of them dying would have serviced the story a little bit better this season.
Well, I'll say this. I think with Lou, I don't think it should have been him because they already kind of played that card with him in the last season.
Oh no, I don't think Lou should have died, but I feel like Marvin or
even with Marvin though, like I feel like if he does die, that should be something in the next season. And my only
But
reason
they
is
set it
because
up so perfectly for him to die at the moment that he got shot and whatever, because he started turning things around. He started to grow some type of relationship with his
well,
daughter.
no, but that's why, like, and maybe that's
But
the
but that's
bias
what
in
I'm
me because I want to see some of that, like, actually realize. Because in
But
the
see,
next season,
but in like other movies or shows or even in real life, when people try to turn things around,
yeah,
that
that's
is when it happens. So I feel like story wise, and maybe like I know Juke and her dad don't have the best relationship right now, but the way they were going, it would be kind of like, traumatizing to someone where you're starting to get a good relationship and then they're taken away from you
yeah, but
soon as
see,
you start to
for
have one.
Marvin, he always struck me, and even more with the season, as someone who's got to go through a lot more pain. Like he's got to see people
How
that
much more pain can you go through than dying? Like,
no, but like literally, like
or, I know what
he
you mean.
yeah, like he met the therapist, and he was just about to go on his first date with her, like,
He was just about to hit that.
and then like she just died, like she just died without
when you
anything.
when you put it like that, like, oh, he was just about to go on a date with the therapist, and then she just died.
Like, the next time he saw her, the funeral, and then we didn't see any. Like, there was no mention. Well, I mean, they
Damn.
talked about it a
Hey,
little bit.
technically, he did get a date for when she was getting buried.
Was this Captain America? I don't think. Like, the thing is,
Smoking on that Miss Renee pack.
I mean, it just was Marvin. I just personally, I don't want to see him go yet. But if he does go, I think yes, it would be kind of a poetic thing to happen. Um, and I know they're not going to kill Rock off. She's
They
to
got to kill her off at some point.
yeah, but I view Rock almost also like a main character.
Look, the reason they got to get rid of Rock, and I actually see her somewhat as a main character too, but that might have been a mistake on their part because Rock, let's keep it real, Rock is not going to let Kanan go under Breeze. We know Breeze got to come in at some point. So it's like y'all kind of wrote yourself into a corner if you keep Rock alive and then Breeze comes in. Because Rock ain't just going to let Kanan go under Breeze like that. And then
Unless
the show is somewhat based on 50's life. So we know 50's mom in real life was a drug dealer, and then she wound up dying in the streets. So if you're gonna base Rock somewhat off his mom, at some point y'all gonna have to do the inevitable because if she's here, he's not gonna be under Breeze.
I mean, yeah, that can happen.
Or even if she doesn't die, Rock is gonna have to go somewhere because with the introduction of Breeze, then you got to bring in the introduction of Ghost and Tommy. Like, it's kind of they put themselves in a point where it's kind of essential for the characters we're following now to go at some point.
Yeah, and yeah, I think if she were to die, I don't think it's gonna be in the next season, but definitely season 4, probably. I can see that being a good send off. And maybe
All I
not even
know,
at the season finale, like maybe even early on, I could probably see that. They could really kind of get you with that.
I think Rock is too big of a character to kill off mid-season. She
Well,
got to be
honestly,
like
I don't think they were
she got to
expecting her
be.
to be that great. Like, you know how you just make a character and they're just serving the purpose that they're serving. I don't
I
know if they
don't
were
know about
expecting her.
that. She is basically like the secondary main character to the show.
I mean, yeah, but I always thought, like, at least when I was watching it from the first season, the first few episodes, she was going to kind of maybe be there a little bit to kind of guide him on some things, but I thought it was gonna be more of Kanan. It's really not Kanan's show. Which obviously I get that he's becoming into that man, but it's really what happens behind the scenes with his family and
I
everything that
guess it
happens.
I guess it does make sense because the show is called Raising Kanan, and
Yeah,
Rock's the one raising Kanan. So
yeah.
I guess it makes sense, but it's like if the show is marketed as a Kanan prequel, because if you look at all the early marketing, Rock wasn't in the early marketing. It was all Kanan. It was all about Kanan. So it's like if this is truly Kanan's story, then Rock, Marvin, and Lou all gonna have to go at some point. And to be honest, I don't want to see them go because I do like all three of them. But it's like if this is a clear if this is a prequel to a clear story we've already kind of gotten, then you guys got to follow it.
Yeah.
And you know fans would get pissed off if we have never met. Like if Raising Kanan was to go on and we never meet Breeze, fans will get pissed the fuck off. Which I'm actually annoyed with fans. I'm tired of everybody guessing this person is Breeze, that person is Breeze. It got to a point where people is even saying that Famous is Breeze.
What?
Yes, people actually started to believe that Famous is Breeze
Okay, that's really rare.
because of how he has his own. I mean, his own apartment now, which the original Power had the apartment, and then how he caught his first body this season, and we're slowly seeing Famous start to get darker. Like, look, Famous is getting more in the streets, but I ain't gonna sit here and say he's Breeze. The way they talked about Breeze sounded older than everybody in in Raising Kanan right now.
I also took Breeze to be a larger than life kind of character, and Famous, like he just shot somebody, and now he can kind of rap about it. Breeze is someone that's been living this life in my head. Let me ask you a question though. Like, how do you feel about everything to do with like Unique and his or Neek and his like kind of organization, his purpose? Because honestly, I have so much respect for Neek.
First thing I will say is no, I don't think Breeze is Unique. I don't think Unique is Breeze. No, not you, but I'm talking to these damn Power fans that think everybody in the universe. Kanan is fucking Breeze. Brayden is Breeze. Diana is Lauren is Breeze. That's how these Power fans be acting. But no, I actually like Unique's character a lot. See, I do kind of want to see him go through more in season 3 because like Unique has kind of just been mostly just the cool antagonistic force. But it seems like now with the ending of season 2, he's going to be more of a team player to the Thomases. So with him being more of a team player, I do want to see him go through more trials and tribulations. But I mean, I guess that's all I can say right now. Like I respect.
And you saw his best friend die right in front of me. I don't know, that was funny. He was like,
but Corey, if you compare Unique to everybody else in Power, I mean, in Raising Kanan, Unique kind of just been having an easy ride if you really think about it. He's had somewhat of an easy ride. The most crazy thing that happened to Unique, and I mean this is crazy, but in terms of the Power universe, this isn't really that crazy, is when him and his son got shot at by Marvin. Obviously in real life.
The whole organization like dying because like he literally I guess had to start back up from the last season.
Oh man, don't say that because now people's gonna think more he's Breeze.
Oh man.
No, Corey, I don't know how much you pay attention to these Power fans, but everybody is Breeze. Every scene that happens contributes to why this one person is Breeze. They even said Rock's boyfriend, Symphony. Yeah, they even said Symphony was Breeze at one point.
Symphony?
Yes, you laughing, but they dead ass thought he was. That he was Breeze.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, everybody. I swear, everybody has been Breeze so far. Marvin has even been Breeze.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I just want to see young Ghost and young Tommy with the cornrows. Like I want to see
the way. Well, we're probably not going to see like those exact actors because the way that they set it up in the original Power, Kanan and his friends, they're like late high school. Ghost and Tommy, at least they said as far as where we're at in the timeline of Raising Kanan, they're basically just little ass kids, probably in elementary school. So we're probably not going to see them for a while. I think 50 said probably not to like season 4 or 5
Oh,
that we
wow,
would see
that
them.
long?
So that kind of means if they are planning on them coming in around 4 or 5, that means Rock, Lou, and Marvin kind of got to go before that point.
That's gonna be so sad. I feel like it may even be all in one swoop, all in one like season.
That I don't know. That might be kind of crazy. I was kind of expecting a little hint at the end of season 2, like not showing Ghost and Tommy, but at least, just a little hint. Like maybe we get to meet Ghost's dad or something like that.
Did no, we met his uncle, right?
Yeah. And that's the funny thing too. Everybody's also wondering who's Ghost's dad. They even thought Symphony was Ghost's dad at one point.
Well, that was the only person I thought who could be Breeze was his uncle and Power.
His uncle being, remember, Ghost killed Breeze, so it wouldn't have made sense.
Unless they thought they killed Breeze. And they did like a reversal on you.
I don't think Ghost is gonna let that wait.
Oh, wait, hold on. We didn't talk about the obvious one that is for all these things. Do you still think Ghost is alive? Or is he dead? Because I've seen the videos on YouTube.
Okay, so do you want my honest answer, or do you want my power universe answer?
I want your honest answer.
My honest answer is it just depends on if the ratings go up or down. Because let's keep it real, they set it up in a way where if the ratings start going down, or if the power universe starts to get a lot of negative reviews or something like that, bring Omari Hardwick back in and fans will start viewing it again.
Why do I feel like Omari Hardwick is just like on call, waiting for them to like, wait, all right, so the numbers are going down. You need me? Like, yeah, we need you really.
And then also, Corey, let's keep it real. Courtney Kemp said that she was inspired by the Marvel universe to do this. Bringing back Ghost is kind of like bringing back Iron Man in the Marvel universe. You better have that paycheck ready if you really want them to come back.
Yeah, no, for good reason. He's the main,
like the way everybody talk about Robert Downey Jr. as far as like the Marvel universe. That's pretty much how Omari Hardwick is for the Power universe. If it wasn't for him, all of this wouldn't even be here.
Yeah, but technically though, isn't it for like I know obviously the show, but really I guess plot wise, if it wasn't for Breeze or Kanan or Rob.
I mean, if you want to stem all the way back, yeah, you can technically say Breeze. But that's just like saying in the Marvel universe, if it wasn't for Captain America or Captain Marvel, we wouldn't be here.
I'm just literally trying to be stupid.
But yeah, because we still got to talk about Force. So, you got any predictions for the next season of Raising Kanan?
I think that Neek's gonna find out that Rock used to be a snitch for Howard.
I mean, seeing his face at the end of season 2, I think that's definitely gonna happen.
Yeah, and I don't think he's gonna be the one to like kill her, but
some people predicting Kanan may do it. But see, here's the thing, and this is also one of my issues with Raising Kanan. They're trying to make Kanan too much like Tariq. Like, the way that Kanan's been moving is somewhat like how Tariq been moving. While like the comparison kind of doesn't make sense to me. But if they really did want to make him a lot like Tariq, and if you remember in the original Power, Kanan did say you're not a real killer till you kill someone you love. That's one of the reasons why people think Kanan could be the one to kill his mom.
yeah, I think it probably is because I don't know who else it would be that he would have such a strong connection to. Because I mean, yeah, it could be Marvin or Lou, but I highly doubt it.
Marvin and Lou is never gonna kill Rock.
No,
see, I feel like Marvin.
I'm saying Kanan wouldn't kill them.
Oh no!
If there's anyone that I feel like who Kanan still loves. I mean, yeah, he loves like them too, but that
Actually, there was another theory I saw where some people think Juke is gonna kill Kanan's mom because of how their close relationship is, but also you know how like Juke kind of plays both sides, where
Mhm.
like she sees what Kanan's going through, she sees what Rocks goes through, but she also be looking at Rock sometimes like, bitch, you crazy.
It could be too because of
Because Juke is
the
more
lies.
crazier. Juke is winds up being more crazier than Kanan, so I wouldn't put it past her doing it.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I think I would prefer it to be Juke because I think the whole trope of killing your parent is kind of
Mhm.
being exhausted, even if it's just the mom and not the dad. Like,
And
I
even it would somewhat make sense because a lot of people are trying to figure out why was it so easy for Kanan to kill Juke in the future, and if she wound up killing his mom, then it
yeah, like
would
he could
somewhat
have
make
had
sense.
some resentment towards it. Like, it could have been a moment where he knew that she had to do it, but he wanted to be the one to pull the trigger. It would be exactly how it was in Power Book. I mean, in original Power with Tasha and Tariq. Tariq
Hmm.
doing it, Tasha being the one to do it, but Tariq ultimately being that one and causing all these issues. But in this case, it's Jukebox that does it and kills Rock. Kanan understands it, but obviously has some resentment towards her. Because yeah, I always wondered that too. Like, why was it so easy for him to just kill her? I mean, he was like just chilling at her pad and just like,
No, I do think when people say that it was very easy for him to kill her, I do think people is underestimating how hard it was for him because you can see the pain in his eyes when he did wind up killing Juke. Like people making it seem like he was heartless with it. Like he did have some pain in his eyes if you really look at him.
the thing is like, yeah, he had pain, but the act of actually doing it, he didn't
Yeah,
have like,
well, okay. And also, I do think people don't think about it that much when they say it was easy for him. He seemed Tariq somewhat like a son, so it was like it wasn't like I wouldn't say it was like, oh, like tie your shoes easy, but it was like, okay, if he sees this kid somewhat like his son and he
I
actually
can't
grown
see him like a
genuine
son
love.
anymore based off that one video that you made. That screwed me over. Like,
I
that
forgot about
that
that shit.
that screwed me over when I watched that mess. Like, I was at first I thought they had a mentor or mentee relationship, and then I watched that. I'm like, Tevin, you
Wait, did I actually put up a good argument for that?
no. All these, I know. Oh God, I remember.
Okay, for quick context, before we move on to Force, for quick context, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people knows about this video because that's my most viewed video before I privated it.
Wait,
It was
really?
a, I'll get to that. I made a video where Tariq and Kanan, I kind of made like, a lovey-dovey, like questioning their relationship type of video. And I put it behind Sierra's Can't Leave Him Alone, partly because 50 is also on that song. And I mean, Tariq can't leave Kanan alone. I mean, but
Oh,
look, so yeah, I put that video out, and I mean, okay, I refer, let's like I said with Elijah's video, I refer to her as that bitch. That bitch was having a bad night. That was an inside joke between me and that bitch, and I made the video to cheer her up at the time. But that's not the reason I privated it. The reason I privated it, and if you probably notice if you go through my whole channel, um, I privated all my gameplay videos. I privated that video because I want to focus on more real life content. So someday, like my plan is to make it unprivate when my YouTube finally gets up there and I don't have to worry too much about having similar stuff on my channel. But
mhm.
until then, I just want to focus on all the real life content so that the algorithm can know what more of my channel is about. Which so far it's been going pretty well for me because I have been getting a lot more views since doing that. So
No, I definitely would say this is the alley to go through. Like, the podcast, honestly, like you want to do like gameplays or anything else, like you can still do that too. But this right now is the niche. Focus
Yeah.
on this, and because I mean, like I'm seeing the numbers, accumulate. It's yeah, no, don't. I would say don't change anything. Don't change anything.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense because for years, I mean, I told you and Josh this, for years people always said that I had like, the talent for like radio and talking and shit like that. So yeah, but let's get back on topic because we still have hella other topics to touch on.
Okay, so we need to probably speed run through this, like maybe.
Well, all we have is Force left. So
No,
what's
but
your
I
quick
mean, like, because we started this at 5:30, just around that.
shit? I might have to do the same thing I did with Josh's episode and break this into two parts. But all right. What's your thoughts on Force?
Force, I like, but I'm not gonna lie, I feel like it was a bit lackluster.
A
Like,
lot of other people have expressed that too.
yeah, like I did like the brothers. I did like that whole duality of what is it, Jabard?
What, his black brother?
Yeah.
I forget his
It was
name.
Diamond and
Oh no,
Jannard.
you're talking. Yeah, you're talking about. I thought you were talking about Tommy's new brother, but yeah, Diamond and
Oh,
Jannard.
that dude too. That was really that threw me off when I first saw that episode. I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like he really has a black brother?"
I mean,
Really?
Tommy's basically black. Let's keep it real.
Like, but come on, really? But in general, though, I do think that it showed enough of Tommy's savageness. It showed enough of his fervor to like do whatever he has to do to, like I mean, he really went into the city first episode, getting over the loss of his best friend.
And
Went to
I think people don't acknowledge he's literally in Chicago, one of the worst cities in America, and he's running shit.
yeah,
Like
no, I'm saying like
that just shows how crazy Tommy really is. Like he stepped into Chirac and he said, "Bitch, I'm taking over this town."
like I like that whole concept of like him already being in a very established like drug organization between two rivals. And he's just like in the middle being like Casper. Like that's his alias.
See, here's the thing. Okay, my quick thoughts on Force is, yeah, I will say it didn't wind up being as good as I thought it was gonna be, but I still think it's better than Ghost to me because Ghost, I feel like Ghost overall is better in story, but the characters, and I feel like the characters is the main thing of Power, that the Power universe, that why people watch that is mostly the characters. I feel like Tommy's spinoff has better characters. Like Liliana was a great character
Oh,
before they killed her.
she's
Di-
top five. No,
Diamond is like one of my favorite characters in the Power universe so far. Jannard, as much as he is of a bitch, I like his character. The Flynn family, like the brother and sister in the Flynn family, they were pretty good.
I just kept on seeing Spencer for Good Luck Charlie like the entire time.
Yo, that's all I was thinking. I was like, yo, Spencer, what?
Like,
he was just dancing with Teddy and shit, and now he over here dealing drugs with Tommy. Like, what? No, but the dad had me laughing. His accent, his accent, yeah, he had me fucking dead.
What's she gonna do out there? I can't even do
it. Fucking Tommy. But no, Claudia Flynn. Oh wait, I got a girlfriend. I can't. But yeah. But yeah, I like Force. I would say overall, Raising Kanan is my favorite spinoff. If you guys couldn't tell yet, but I think Force, season one, it's season one, but I think as time goes on, I think Force will put up a good competition with Raising Kanan because I see the potential there.
Okay, so let's rate him like from 1 to 10 with Raising Kanan, Power Book 2, and Power Book 4.
As of right now, if I had to rate book 2, probably a 7, 7.5. Book 3, I'm not gonna lie, man. Even with its shortcomings, I still think it's the best so far. So 9, yeah, 9 out of 10. And then Tommy spinoff, I'll give it like an 8.
Okay. Power Book 2, I will give maybe a 7.5. Power Book 3, I think I would also, well, I think I would give it 8. Did you give it an 8 or no? You give it a 9. I'll give it an 8.
Yeah.
And then for Power Book 4, I was gonna give it a 7.5, but I'm gonna give it an 8. And that's just because I got to see Tommy rocking a nice suit. I got to see him
When he
rocking
was trying to
nice.
embody Ghost.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. He was looking kind of clean, man. I was like,
Hey, look, Claudia was even feeling him in that
like,
suit.
don't no. I just feel like she's in the girls because she just strikes me as.
I don't know. I feel like there's that little thing. I feel like Claudia would be a good match for Tommy. It just.
Oh wait,
they're
no,
both
you said Claudia. I was thinking of Liliana.
Oh no, Liliana is more like a sister to Tommy. Though there was little hints that Liliana might have liked Tommy.
Yeah, I think they would have. They would have been a really like hard couple. Like, but as far as Claudia, I don't know. That one scene was really weird when she was first giving him the drug, and she was
When
like,
she kissed him.
"Yeah," and he was
Hey, that's the what Dahlia. That's not Dahlia.
like, everybody just be going crazy with that. They're like,
No,
they
yo,
like a paralyzed.
I was fucking dying because when they first introduced Dahlia in the Force, there's this page out. Okay, I guess this is a free plug, but there's a page on Instagram called South Jersey News, and like whenever there was a video of someone like having a horrible drug trip, they would always be like, they must have took that Dahlia.
I'm like, that's horrible. I mean, it's true because they.
Yo, Dahlia seemed like the best drug of all time on Power.
It did. Like,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't take drugs, but shit, the way they were talking about Dahlia made me want to get a little sniff. You know?
No, I remember the one dude that was like cross-eyed or something. He was like the leader.
Freddie Gibbs.
Yeah, and he was like,
that shit had his eyes coming straight again.
he was like, oh, that's pretty good.
That thing can medically help people. got this cockeyed man looking straight again.
No, if we had something like that in real life, that honestly would be an epidemic of. That would be terrible.
Yeah. Just as long as young Kanan don't make it, because you know that shit might kill people. Like when he made the yo, did you see that one meme where they put him on the Chef Boyardee picture after that episode came out?
No, I didn't see that.
They put his face on Chef Boyardee, and they were like, his food kills.
Oh my god,
his food kills the game.
That was well. I didn't say this, but going to Power Book, Raising Campbell quick, that was probably top 5 of the saddest deaths for me. Was when Nicole took like the drugs.
Really, Nicole?
Because it was, I don't know, there was something about it that like.
I mean, it was sad, but
no, but like it was like it just she just felt so pure and innocent compared to everybody else. And it was like,
but see, that's the thing. Even Courtney Kemp said it. If you're a pure, a nice person in the Power universe, they got to kill you off because what more can they do? Like she said, that was one of the main reasons they killed off Raina because like she was so pure and nice. What could they wound up doing with her? Which this is something I've always wished that they did, and I mean, I guess I kind of get to see it with the Flynn family in book 4. But I've always kind of wanted to see Ghost. I mean, I keep saying Ghost. I've always wanted to see Tariq and Raina kind of be like a drug dealing brother and sister duo. I've always wanted to see like a drug show like that where it's a brother and sister duo.
And now you get to see that with the Flynn family.
Yeah, somewhat, because they're not really the main characters. I want to see a show where the brother sister duo is the main
Well, I
characters,
mean, like I
but
think that is the thing with Power Book 4 is because it's like that with I mean, obviously not brother and sister, but with brothers, like it was
see,
Jannar.
that's why you gotta watch BMF because that pretty much is BMF, Meech and Terry.
I'll see. I don't know anything about that. Is it
Hey,
really
look,
worth checking out?
huh?
Is it really worth like watching?
Oh yeah,
Like,
it's to me it's better than Force and Book Two.
all right.
Look, just check it out. We'll do a follow-up episode where we talk about that. But okay, let's get to our next topic. To be honest, I think we should cut out the Boy Meets World one and just focus on the last two things that we had. Um Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. That was the album that we really wanted to talk about.
Well,
So
I was gonna say real quick to the Boy Meets World thing. Like I can just give a quick answer on that. It's not as good a rewatch at all.
see see now I'm gonna want to get into this conversation, Corey, but we need to focus on the
I mean,
other stuff.
if you want to keep it moving, we can keep moving. I'm just telling you.
So obviously we're gonna have to have a follow-up episode with Corey because just like with Josh, we got a lot we like to talk about, but I really wanted to talk to you about this Kendrick album.
Okay, we can talk about that. So I have like the opinion that honestly, I think this is his it's either his number one or his second best art.
So now see, that's a bold statement. So why do you feel like this is his best or possibly his best album?
Well, see, the thing is, I'm obviously doing it more, at least I'm doing it more from like a subjective place. I'm doing it personally for me.
Mhm.
Uh, Talking about mental health and things that just have not been really touched about in a way that's also personal for him. Other projects, don't get me wrong, like they're going to make you think, they're going to um, make you turn up. There's a lot of different mediums that you're going to go through. But with this project specifically, it was like he was just laying out his dirty laundry and I just had to sit through it. And it wasn't in a way of like, oh, man, this is so much. There were some points where like, man, this is hard to listen to. But this was his life. He was just laying it out there and you kind of have to just rock with it. I liked how raw it was.
And
It didn't
see,
seem like he had to polish anything up for me.
that's why I somewhat debate with myself if this is my second favorite album from him. Cause I feel like number one is always gonna be Good Kid Mad City. But I always debated with myself since Mr. Morale came out if either Damn or Mr. Morale is better. But here's the thing, I guess it really for me it just depends on what you're looking at. Like if I'm looking at overall songs that I like, I'm gonna say Damn more. But if I'm
Mm.
looking for an album that's gonna challenge me and make me think and like make me feel more things, Mr. Morale made me feel a lot more because what gets on my nerves about people not are criticizing this album a lot is that in a way Kendrick kind of gave people what they wanted. They always like for the years that he was gone, they kept saying, "Oh, I want to know how Kendrick feels about this. I want to know what's going on with Kendrick. Where has Kendrick been at?" And then
Mm.
throughout this whole album, I think, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but I think people didn't like this album because Kendrick told them a lot of things that they didn't want to hear. Because, you know, he was talking about how, his childhood with his dad taught him a lot of toxic masculinity type of things. He was talking about how his aunt was, um, how his uncle was transgender and like how he said the word, or was it that he said?
Yeah.
He was saying that word and people like got offended by it, but he did it for a reason. It wasn't to offend, but he was trying to make a point with it. Then we cry together, where a lot of people, I've seen a lot of reactions where people say, hey, that's how a lot of relationships is, but nobody else is going to acknowledge that. We always turn it into a joke, but he actually made it serious. And then personally, me, I've always looked up to people like Kendrick and Cole because they seem like they had their life together. When they talk about love and relationships, they seem like they had like great relationships. And this album, Kendrick openly admits that he cheated on his girlfriend, or I guess as of now his wife. He cheated on her multiple times, and he said he had to learn to get through that. And he was openly telling people like, look, I know you look up to me, but I'm not your savior. And that hit me because I've always seen him as like, a role model. But he's almost like, look, I might say a lot of things you like, but don't look at me in that type of way. Look at me as how I am. And then even in the last song, when he acknowledges his disappearance, he literally says, I choose me. I'm sorry. So it's like people did not like the things that he had to say, but at the end of the day, it's true. We idolize these rappers and see them as better than what they are, when at the end of the day, they're human just like us. He cheated, he's done bad things, he has bad tendencies, and in this album, he just threw it in all our faces. So
Honestly,
that's what I really love about this album, because it's like Kendrick really being Kendrick.
well, that's the thing too. I feel like a lot of people also just did not take the time to actually listen to it and critiqued it based off of hearsay or what they heard about,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, this is about mental health, oh, he's talking about personal demons and therapy, whatnot. They heard that and just kind of like, oh, like, why is he doing that? Or there's so many things to talk about. Like you were talking about last night about the negative influences. And people will kind of deem this in that category, in that, oh, like, this is not positive. You're not talking about uh nice things as far as raising up the community, or doing
Well,
things.
when I said that, I was saying like,
Well, no, I know you were saying it in the sense of like
well,
rappers who are.
I was explaining it for the audience where, see, it seems like nowadays in rap, if you talk about more negative things, you get more success, you get more shine. People that talk
Mhm.
about positive things or things that people don't want to hear, that's when you get considered. That's when you get, called corny, and say like people say that you're ass. Like people have been calling J. Cole ass for a minute, but that's just because he's trying to be more positive. Kendrick's album was deemed, not that good when he was trying to tell people about tough topics. He was trying to address tough issues.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the problem. They and that's the thing. Like, I objectively try to remove myself from the album in a way that I was like, okay, I know that this is something that, for those who don't know, like, I am trying to be a counselor. So mental health is something that obviously is very personal for me. And people obviously can think that's like a bias. This, and it might be, but like I said before, it just felt like he wasn't trying to please anybody with this album. Like, he just was not trying to cater to a particular audience for a particular idea or concept. And it really, really showed. And even with the backlash that he got, like, I don't know like how he like went about it on like Instagram or Twitter, because I'm not like on social media like that, but I don't think he like maybe tried to water things down or address it. Like, I mean, maybe with the faggot comment he did.
No, he ain't addressed nothing.
What's more the merrier.
He
Like,
just stayed quiet, to be honest.
see, like, I like the fact that even then he's not trying to. It's not like he's defending it, like in a sense of, oh, I was just trying to prove my point for this, or I was just trying to say this for that. Like, he's just letting it be, and whatever people say is what they say. And I respect the album even more because of that. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
think if he actually went ahead and addressed the criticism and try to like defend it, I honestly think I would lose a little bit of the album and how I felt, because of how raw he
So
was trying to
see,
be in it.
because see, a lot of artists and creatives nowadays, like they don't realize, just let the art speak for itself. Even if you get criticism, just let it speak for itself, to be honest. And that's, even though Kendrick said, like, don't idolize me, that is still something that I very much, even before he came along, that's just a quality that I've always liked about artistry. It's like, shut up and let your music speak.
But you know the funny thing about it is I almost still see like all the blatant criticism and attention to what he did not do, what he didn't do as still a form of idolization because you're so fixated on this person for oh my god, like this album sucks because they didn't talk about this and like for those people who are like, oh, I'm not like listening to a song or whatnot, but they're still oppressed on all these things. They're
But
still
see,
treating it as like some sort of god that fell
but
from
see, I think
throne.
just like what you said, I feel like people was expecting a 2020 album from Kendrick. Because throughout the years, everybody kept saying, I want to see what he says about George Floyd. I want to see what he says about COVID. It's like you guys wanted a 2020 album. That's what y'all, at least those people that I kept seeing say that. Like Kendrick already kind of touched on stuff like that. He already made To Pimp a Butterfly. That might not be the creative space that he's in right now. And clearly, and actually, I don't even say 5 years. Technically, it's been 4 years since he made an album because that Black Panther album is basically a Kendrick album with a lot of features.
It really is.
But he clearly took these 4 years to focus on himself, and that's what's being translated through this album. He's focusing on himself.
Yeah, this kind of goes also back to I guess when you had Josh on the podcast, and I think you guys were talking about was it
Expectations.
Legends? Huh?
Oh
No.
no, yeah, we were talking about Legends. Yeah.
And this is just another reason why he fits in that mold because and he's not doing things differently each time for the sake of doing it differently. Like it always, at least from how I perceive it, it feels genuine. Like you just said, he's doing it in the headspace that he is in a current space of time. Not like, okay, I see the climate outside of me. There's COVID, there's shootings. Like he's not focusing on the time of everything else around him. He's focusing on the time within him. And it reflects in the music. That's why obviously the project is so personal and why it's so intimate is because it's literally internalizing everything that he's dealt with. And I feel like everyone wants a societal piece of work. And it's not
And
like you don't want to hear that all the time.
and see, that's what I was about to say. It's like, I get it. We want to hear his thoughts and stuff like that, but it's like, what more can he say after To Pimp a Butterfly? That whole album was pretty much about being Black in America. He already addressed everything that he could literally say about that topic. Shootings, what is literally all right about? Black on black crime, what is Blacker the Berry literally about? I know that he expanded more on self-love throughout this album, but even with, self-love, what is that about? Mental health, what is you about? Like the whole album already addressed all those issues. So I don't want to hear Kendrick, not that I don't want to hear him talk about it again. It just, if he doesn't, I'm just fine with it because I've already kind of heard what he had to say.
Well, see, and for me, this is also kind of my gripe when people say a lot of these negative comments because I just can't understand when you have a man that's being vulnerable and exposing himself and being accountable for things that he made mistakes for,
Mhm.
and you're upset with that. Like, you don't know this man and everything that he's dealing with, but it's more than that. Like, people always say, like, I know this person, or I know this rapper, or I know whatever. This is his way of kind of actually showing you like what he's like or what's kind of going on in his psyche, how he became maybe a little bit of how he is today as the person. I think they take Kendrick Lamar and it almost doesn't feel like he's, and not even with Kendrick Lamar, like people in general, like singers, rappers, entertainers,
Mhm.
it's the art that they are making, that is for the populace, for a greater people. It's never something that they can internalize for that person and be like, okay, like I actually understand who Kendrick is. I actually kind of want to get to know who this person is.
Mhm.
Because I feel like I kind of got to know him as a person from this album versus what he's talking about. Like, yeah, you can have someone talk about some like amazing things and or some really terrible things and have some commentary on it. But him with this album, like it just felt like I was reading his innermost thoughts that he just kept secret to himself, that he wasn't trying to have anybody look at initially, but then when he was ready to, he just let it all out.
See,
It felt like a
that's
privilege, honestly.
I get what you're saying because it's like, as much as I like Good Kid, Mad City, that was knowing how Kendrick was growing up. That's not really knowing who he is now. And then Damn and, To Pimp a Butterfly, those are like just one-off thoughts that he turned into songs. But this album genuinely feels like literally, welcome to my mind. This is exactly how I think. This is what I'm personally going through. This isn't about the creative thing I'm trying to make for y'all. This is about me. Like that's how it felt. Like maybe that's why I rank this album a lot higher than a lot of his other ones because, and this isn't anything negative. I like when artists try to create like a concept or like try to create a story or something for you to follow. But this album felt less like, this is a creative story and it just felt more like this is you getting to know me.
Yeah.
Like, and that's not a, like I said, that's not a negative because some people might take what I just said as a negative, like, oh, he must have not put that much thought into it. But this, like, this wasn't as much of a concept album, but it was more just a very introspective album, which I feel like I want from more artists, to be honest. Like,
The irony is that you would hope that other rappers would follow with this kind of like personal like projects for them. But what's unfortunate is I feel like they're gonna take the situation and try to be far removed as possible, which is
mhm.
like really sad to see because they're just gonna be like, yeah, people don't want that. They want something that's hard and bumping. They want something to talk about other, what's going on,
But
get the
see,
ratings, like
when I say that I want this type of album from other artists, like one thing I like about Kendrick is, or just like what I said with the other albums, they were more conceptual. They were more like, him trying to make a vibe or like make a concept for people. This was just his thoughts on what was going on around that time. I kind of want to see other rappers do this, like, all those gangster rappers that be making all those killing songs and stuff like that. Like, look, I get that you want to put on that persona for like your fans and your music and stuff like that. But how
mm,
do you genuinely feel like a rapper like Lil Durk, for example? He's beefing with NBA YoungBoy. He's saying we smoking on this pack and stuff like that. Like that's just the music. Lil Durk, how do you feel as a person? Because as a person, we know you lost a lot of friends. Last year, you just lost your brother. You lost King Von. How does it feel internally knowing that you went from a horrible environment like the worst city in America to being one of the biggest rappers ever in the world? Like, yeah, there is times where, and I'm not going to sit here and act like, I'm greater than thou. I like hearing some of that, messed up shit. But for the most part, I kind of want to hear some of these rappers, especially ones that's been in the game long enough to where they can take risks, just like Kendrick. Lil Durk's been, and I'm just using him as an example. There's other rappers that could do this, but like
mm,
Lil Durk's been in the game long enough to where you can take that risk, where you can take us deeper into your mind about the things you've been through. That's what I really like about this album because it's like Kendrick did something that I don't think other artists would be risky enough to do.
Well, see, I think that's kind of the nail on the head right there. Like, no one's going to take the risk. It's a big risk, but no one is brave enough or bold enough, or and I mean,
And
and when I say
and the
this,
funny,
not coming
oh,
at everybody, but like I just feel like they're not. No one's equipped to take that risk.
and see, the funny thing is, and I think this is really funny. People always question why the big three has always been Drake, Kendrick, and Cole. If you really think about it, they've always been the ones to take that risk. Drake, his newer music may not be as good now, but if you listen to his old music, that is basically him putting all his thoughts and like, his raw emotions on a song. Kendrick, granted, this is the most raw of all his albums, but that's all he's ever done was just put all his raw emotions on his albums. Cole, all his raw emotions right on the album. And not saying that other rappers don't show their emotions and whatever, but they do it in a way where it's like you kind of have to look at the hard truths of their life, and maybe it teaches you things about your life.
Yeah, it's it's something that I honestly don't think we're gonna get anytime soon with a revolutionized way of new stream artists like coming in and doing that. Because
Though,
I think it's always gonna be whatever is the next relevant thing. But I'm just hoping this doesn't discourage Kendrick from doing this again.
oh no, this ain't going to discourage
You
him.
know, yeah.
he's
So
he's always been that out there type of person. Don't forget, this is the same guy that made that Control verse.
yeah,
He's never gonna be discouraged. But the other thing I find funny is when people said there was no bangers on this album, which he had bangers, especially
Savior
Rich.
was like really good. That was
Savior was a banger.
that was.
Rich Spirit was like, a very chill type vibe type banger.
No, I would literally play Savior on repeat, like full blast in my car. Like, oh, I was like, I
No,
was the
I
field, man.
love Savior, but no, Rich Spirit, bitch, I'm attractive. Can't fuck with me no more. I'm fast and
Ugh.
or even on that one song with Kodak, like push these bitches away, like like he's always doing those random noises and shit. But yeah, like this album is a lot better than what people give it credit for. And I just feel like this is one of those albums where people aren't gonna fuck with it now, but give it a few years, and I do think people will
Oh,
start to.
for sure. I think this is definitely gonna go down as like I don't know if you have cult classics with like music, but if
Oh
there is
yeah,
something
there
like
is.
that, yeah, then this will definitely be something like I cannot see it not being that, honestly.
Because even slowly now, I'm starting to see it get a little bit more respect. Like even now, after Drake and 21 put out their album, I've actually seen a few tweets where people were like, this Drake and 21 album is cool, but it's not better than Mr. Morale. So I'm slowly starting to see the
Mhm.
conversation change about the album. But
Yeah, but see, I always feel like with they're only comparing it against something that they also don't like. So they're just like, it's not as good as this, but it's not necessarily appreciating it either.
I think they're also doing the comparison because we know Drake and Kendrick are like the biggest rivals.
Mm.
It's so weird how like their rivalry is so weird because it's like they fuck with each other, but it's also like they don't like each other at the same time. It's weird.
Like Drake and Kendrick are the biggest rivals?
Yeah.
I thought it would be
Oh
Kendrick and
you
J. Cole.
oh no, you must have not known about Drake and Kendrick's beef.
Oh no, I've been off the
I
loop.
got I gotta send you the video on YouTube after we're done. But yeah, Kendrick and Drake, they they got some beef going on. But ending this conversation, what would you rate Mr. Morale out of 10?
I think a solid 8.7.
8.7. That's very specific.
I mean, because 8.5 didn't feel right enough. I feel like I just needed to give a couple more decimals, I mean, integers in there. I don't know.
I'm gonna
You?
go eight. I'm gonna go 8.5. I feel like saying any number higher than that is too specific, but yeah, I'll give it an 8.5. Though, oh yeah, to answer your question, the one verse that I really liked a lot, and I told Corey this was like my favorite, one of my favorite Kendrick verses ever, was actually Die Hard, the second verse. Because if you read everything that he says in that second verse, that shit just hit like crazy. That verse was beautiful to me. So maybe
Oh,
after
it was the entire verse.
yeah, the second verse on Die Hard.
Mm,
So yeah. Um
I have to look at that.
yeah. And then the last topic, and I guess you can explain this one, but when me and Corey were discussing topics, we were also trying to avoid a relationship topic because and this is nothing against any of the guests I've had so far, and this isn't like, to discourage any guests that I'm going to have, but I don't want to be a relationship podcast. Like, I don't mind talking about relationships, but I ain't trying to just solely be a relationship podcast. Like, everybody be trying to talk about relationships on my podcast. And not to mention, I look at my analytics for streaming services. On streaming services, my episode with Zanai, where we talk straight about relationships, is my most popular episode on streaming services. So I just don't want people to get it confused. This is not a relationship podcast. I talk about any and everything, but I say all of that to,
Relationships is probably the niche, though.
yeah, I guess. But I say all of that to get to this point where I told Corey, look, if we're going to talk about relationships, let's have an original spin on it. And what he suggested to me was very original. So I'm gonna give the floor to Corey so he can explain it to y'all.
Yeah. So my pleasure. Yeah, when it comes to new age dating, there's a lot of different topics you could talk about. You could talk about men and women cheating. You could talk about social media and all that. But I'm thinking more of you got the girl or the guy, you got the whole relationship down packed, and now you're thinking about the future, marriage and kids. What are you gonna do? And me personally, I'm all for marriage, but I don't want to have kids. And whenever I tell people this, they're always so shocked. They're like, "What? You don't want to have kids? Like, what are you talking about? Like, don't you want to let the legacy go on? Don't you want like it's just gonna end with you?" I'm like, okay. Or like, don't you want to pass on this to your son, or don't you want to see them grow up and have memories? And it's always like, also when I talk about it, they're like, oh, you're young now. Maybe give it like 5 years, 10 years. You'll change your mind. You'll come around. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm pretty verbatim on, or pretty serious on that I'm not going to do it. But this is kind of this topic. It's kind of taboo, more so for women, I feel like, than men. But I still think just in society, like we put so much pressure. Actually, no, it's not even pressure. I mean, it's pressure too, but it's also just the expectation
But
that if
see,
you're gonna get someone.
it's also kind of crazy hearing you say this because I don't know how it is for y'all, but like for me, most people that I went to high school with pretty much have kids at this point. And then, before I met my girlfriend, like, me trying to, or actually before I met my girlfriend, my views on relationships somewhat changed a little bit. But like in the few times I would try to like mingle with people and stuff like that, most people have kids. So like even at our age, most people have kids. So it's like, and also me, I ain't trying to be no damn stepfather. So it's just interesting hearing you say that you don't want kids when one, me personally knowing you, I feel like you would be, even if you don't believe that you want kids, I still believe you would be a good father. maybe that's why it was shocking to me when you told me. Like,
No,
I
but see,
believe
here's
you.
the thing though. Y'all view me as an F boy, but y'all also view me as I'd be a good
Yeah,
dad.
but that's how you treat. But that's about like how you treat women. That's not about having kids, though.
Yeah, but that could rub off on my kid.
Because I mean, you can look at the biggest fuck boys and still see them be great fathers.
Yeah, but not a lot of them.
I mean, look at Pretty Boy Fredo. No, let me stop. Let me stop.
Mm.
Hey,
But I
Fredo,
mean,
if you in the rare chance you're watching this, I do fuck with you, but you are a fuck boy. That's a good father. But go ahead.
well, my thing also, like, here's my reasoning for me not wanting kids.
Mhm.
For one, do you know how much money that you will save on not having kids? Like, I'm dead serious. Like, you will literally save thousands upon thousands of dollars. I mean, so much. It goes in like the hundred. Like, I think I saw something where they compiled the 4 years of someone in college, and a kid is like quadruple that. Now, it depends on obviously like where you're in college. If they, there's a lot of factors, and that study was just based up of like specific location. But my point in saying it is, you're paying for diapers, you're paying for food, you're paying for clothes, you're paying for all this, and that adds up. And I'm thinking of all of that, that I don't have to pay at all. But it's not even just with financial things, it's stress. I don't have all that stress of feeling like I had to take care of someone and going through not even just the stress of raising a kid, but raising a kid in this world with the craziness of shootings, kidnappings, all the things that you really would want to protect your kid from. Like, you wouldn't want your kid to go out with any of the things that's going on today, and it's only getting worse. And
See,
then,
that is okay. That is something I will give you because one of my biggest fears, and when I say this, the same for the same reasons that other guys be saying that. So looking at a little family backstory for me. My dad has an equal amount of sons and daughters. My mom has wanted a daughter, but she ended up with all sons. And when it comes to like when anybody in my family have kids, I always look at what the parents had, I look at what the grandparents had, and I use that to determine. Like, I was able to guess perfectly that my brother was going to have two sons, perfectly. But here's the thing. I think with me, I have a very strong feeling that I'm going to wind up having a daughter. And I do want a daughter, but that's also one of my biggest fears in the world. Kind of like what you said with like how the world is like so fucking crazy nowadays. Like, you want to know how fucking scared I get when, I go to I'm in my last semester at Rowan, and of course I signed up for all the alerts to go to my phone. Almost every week I see a new alert for like, sexual harassment or rape going on at the school. And this semester, apparently there's been a lot of fights and shootings going on around Rowan, so it's like that. And then, Corey, I know you watch the podcast a lot, so you probably seen the first episode where I was talking about me and my parents, and what we thought was a mass shooting in Philadelphia, which, I mean, there was a shooting, but we came to find out that they were only targeting the police, but they weren't targeting anybody else. But it's still crazy to think that at a family event, someone is like crazy enough to shoot at the cops. But it's just like, in this world that we're in, especially for women, there's a lot of dangers. So I feel like if I was to have a daughter, I feel like I would be like a crazy ass father, to where I would be like hyper analyzing every boyfriend she has, or or tell me your location where you're going at all moments, because it's not like it's not like back in the day when fathers were just overprotective because they just didn't want their daughter, being a hoe. But for me, it's just like this world is actually fucking dangerous. Like, it's starting to get a lot more worse in this generation. So I can see, and then people downplay this too, but men go through a lot of dangerous situations, and that's something that I like to talk about. How men can also get into a lot of dangerous situations. So even if I have a son, it's like I feel like I would be too anxious with my kids.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like it's obviously a risk. And when I also say this too, like about me not having kids, I feel like I don't have to defend myself or preference anything. But if it did happen where I did have a kid, whether by accident or on purpose, I would be the best dad that I could possibly be. No question, asked or anything. So it's not a matter of me thinking about, oh, I wouldn't be a parent of someone because I wouldn't be a good parent, I wouldn't do a good job or anything. Like I would be the best I can. That would be my job,
Mhm.
besides like my actual job or what I'm doing. But I don't see it in my line of sight. And you know what my other reason is, which you're probably gonna laugh when I say it, is I'm just selfish. And that I think, and I can admit that. Like I'm fine with it.
I mean,
I
I'm not gonna laugh because I feel like a lot of people don't acknowledge that. Like
no, but like, but
a
the
lot of people won't be honest about that because people be having kids, but they aren't fit to be parents.
yeah, like I don't mind just being honest with myself and being like, I don't want to raise a kid. I want to focus on me or focus on me and my girlfriend, my wife. I want us to be able to take trips when we want to, not have to worry about a babysitter. Uh, for us to do what we got to do, build my career up, help her career up. I want to live a life that's
So Corey, if you really are this adamant about not having kids, are you gonna get the snip snip?
uh
Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how serious you are about not having kids if you don't get the snip.
let's just say I already made some plans. I saw your smile. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
Vasectomy coming soon. You just heard it here first. Tevin Jameer exclusive.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I got some
Well,
plans.
what else is there to say? I don't know anything else besides a vasectomy.
I don't know.
Wow. Wow. But I will say this though. I do really want kids, but the thing is, I want to make sure that I'm set. And I mean, I kind of said this already on the podcast, but it's like, I want to make sure I'm set financially because, like you said, everybody knows when you have a kid, like your money is going to be really thin dry. So, like, I want to be set financially. I also want to be set, career wise, since I want to get into film. I would like to have a good, steady paying job in the film industry before I wind up having kids. And I think the biggest thing of all, before I have kids, I want to be the best mentally because obviously we ain't talking a while, so I probably never told you, but I've been diagnosed with depression and stuff like that. And like, you know, everybody has things from their past or like situations that they go through that they need to work through. And I'm not gonna say like you're not gonna have, things you got to work through when you do have kids, but I feel like you should try to be mentally your best self so that you don't, put your flaws or anything onto your kids, so that you try to give them the best version that you can of yourself. Because I mean, we live in a generation now where a lot more people is vocal about their upbringing and like how their parents' drama or trauma carries over to them. And
Mhm.
I don't want my kids telling that same story about me. So
Yeah, it's for me. It's also kind of that piece too. But more in the spin of like, how everyone has kind of what they call generational curses or things that they had
mhm.
passed down, like maybe it's infidelity or whatever it may be. And it's just like I want to be the person that ends that without kind of necessarily having to add on to that legacy, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
like if it ended with me, like I'm content with that. I don't feel any need or any like, and I'll put it like this: there are times that I have thought about having kids. Like, it's not like, oh, I just don't want kids, and the thoughts never crossed my mind of like
Mhm.
imagining what it would be like, how I would raise them. It's not. I have those thoughts, but it's only thoughts. It never manifests into something that I actually want to like manifest into. Um, but I think the thing is when people view someone that doesn't want kids, it's almost as if like, yeah, I know I said I'm selfish when it comes to that, but it's in a way where you just don't care about like kids at all, and you think that like they're terrible or like there's always got to be some
Mhm.
sinister reason why you don't want kids. When in reality, like you can't just justify the answer with just saying I don't want them. And you could just end the conversation right there, but people keep pressing on to you, like, why don't you want them?
You
Why is
see
it?
that now that just makes me think about another thing when it comes to our society. I hate how people always feel like they need an explanation out of you for things. Like okay, I know this is slightly getting off topic, so we can get back on after I say this, but like even I watched a video today where like people was talking about like dating preferences, like say, a black a black guy or a black woman say that they rather date a white person. I mean, that's kind of like how one of my friends are, or like how somebody may say, like, oh, I'd rather date an Asian person than anybody else. For me, I don't care. I really don't care about your preference. Like, you don't need to explain shit to me. Like, as long as you're not being hateful and saying, like, oh, I don't want to date them because, they're, and you start saying stereotypes and stuff like that. But, like, if that's just your preference, why do people need explanations for preferences? Like, I don't care about your preference. Like, and that's just me saying, like, this generation and the way we're growing up, it's almost like you need explanations for everything. Like, you can't just say how you feel without someone being like, oh no, why are you thinking like that? Like, because with you, I'm shocked that you don't want kids, but I'm not questioning why wouldn't you want kids, because it's like, hey, that's just how you want to live your life.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I know it just comes with the territory. Like, I've never hear anyone that says that, and I'm just like, oh, like, wouldn't they just stop? Like, it gets to me or something. It doesn't get to me. Honestly, people can say whatever they want, and I wouldn't care because it's the one thing. Like, there's always gonna be maybe something that people will say that might get to you, but that's not one of them. It's one of those things that you're just not gonna compromise on. And it's I now I will say this: I never said anything about not adopting. I did think about adoption or maybe
I mean,
doing
in a
foster
way, that
care.
is still you having kids, though.
But yeah, it is. But I don't want my own kids.
That's original.
Yeah, like if I had someone else's kids, like and probably maybe a certain age too, like probably not just any age, like 16 or something, or like three. It probably would be a certain maybe age in the middle. Um, but yeah, not my own kids. Nah. Mm.
See, I feel like I'm somewhat the opposite with you right now because, this is something a lot of people has been like talking to me about. And I think I said this in my last podcast. My views on love and relationships has kind of changed because, like, when I was younger, I was like a complete romantic. Like, I always wanted the find the one, or like that girl that satisfies, my needs and stuff like that, or like, finding a soulmate. And of course, growing up, you kind of realize like you don't just have one soulmate, like you meet people that's meant for you at a certain time.
Um,
But The thing is, I've also kind of given up on just the idea of marriage in general. Like, honestly, I would love to get married. I want to get married. That's what I really want. But
Mhm.
the type of people that I meet and, I just don't feel like that's going to happen for me. And I even told a few people, like, not everybody is going to end up with someone or have a successful marriage or anything like that. I partly am starting to believe that I'm going to be that person that may not end up with someone, or if I do end up with someone, maybe it might not work out. So, I mean, I don't know how my girlfriend is feeling listening to this, but I mean, I'm not sitting here saying I hope we break up because obviously I don't want us to. But if it happens, I've kind of started to get into a mode where, like, hey, it happens. But the thing is, I really want to be a father someday. So this might sound crazy, but when I want to have kids, I'm gonna have them. So if I don't have a girlfriend or wife or anything like that, or if I do have one and they don't want kids, shit, I'm about to get surrogacy done because I'm gonna have me a kid when I want to, because I've always wanted to be a father out of everything. So
So like no questions asked, like no matter how it's done, you will make
yeah, if
that
I
product.
if I feel like if I feel like I want a kid and I don't have a girlfriend or a wife, I'm just gonna go get surrogacy done. If she don't feel like getting it, or if I am in a relationship and she don't feel like getting it done, okay, of course, I'll give, that is her body. So I'm going to respect it. I'm going to wait until maybe she feels like being ready for it.
Okay, but
But
what if she never does though?
if she never does want to,
Yeah. But like, well,
then
okay, let
then
me
I
put it
like
this.
then I like to
You
explore adoption. But see, here's the thing. You know, I feel like in order for relationships to work, there got to be either some type of compromise, or either I'm just gonna have to get with it. And I feel like, if I want a kid and she doesn't, either that's gonna make or break our relationship.
okay, see, I didn't know that you were for adoption. I thought it had to be
Oh no, I
somehow.
even if I did have my own kids, I've always thought about, adopt, like I want two kids of my own, but I've always been open to adopting a third child. Like I've always thought about doing that.
But are you saying that you not having your own kids is not a deal breaker?
That is if we can find a compromise, or if you just need more time. Like if a girl says like, "Oh, I don't want it right now, but we can explore it in the future." Okay. Or if she just says straight up like, "I don't want to put my body through that, but we could, someday adopt." Okay. Like I'm just saying I want some type of compromise.
I
Or
can
like obviously, because it's your body, you're the one that's going to have to be carrying the baby. I'm not going to force you to do anything, but at the end of the day, like, let's as a couple discuss this, because at the end of the day, a relationship is two people working together.
no, I mean
So
I can respect that because before, just like probably before I explained myself, I was thinking like no matter what, you're gonna get those kids. Like it's gonna be your own kids, no matter how you do it. And I don't know if you ever seen the show The Ultimatum, but
mm,
it's kind of like that in the sense of like it's pretty much where couples get on the show and kind of test their relationship, and they will go and talk to other couples, but they bring them on the show because it's like either you date me, I mean, either we get married or we break up, and it's like a very set time that they have, or either because the
that
couples,
sounds very extreme.
well, the couples that they bring on have been dating for like 2 or 3 years or so, and they're like, we've been
See, I
dating
don't
for
even
a while
I
now.
don't even think that's enough to be getting married, but
No,
that's just
I
personally
agree.
me.
I agree. It's definitely more entertainment value because there's a lot of things I don't agree with. But it's either that or there's some people, like there was one girl who didn't want any kids, and the guy was so gun ho about it. He's just like, why can't we have kids and whatnot? And it's stuff like that that she. And then there was another guy that talked to her, the same person that didn't want kids. And she's like, hey, I think kids would be pretty cool if we just had them, just try it out. And then she was just like, yeah, maybe kids aren't that bad. Like, I'm like, where were you? Where was that passion of not wanting kids? And then this one dude that's not even your fiance comes and talks to you, and now you're thinking about it. Like, it's things like that that I feel like happen all the time, though, where people who are passionate about or like really don't see themselves having kids or even marriage will get pressured by family members, get pressured by friends, feel like they're missing out. Sometimes it's the pressure they put on themselves because they're like, oh, so and so, is having a good life with this guy, and like I don't believe in marriage, but it seems like they're having a really good time, And
See, that's something I don't think I'm gonna have to worry about, especially when it comes to family, because I think my family can even tell you, like, I never worried about being on the same type of timing as anybody else. Even when I was younger, I was still very much myself. So
that's a good thing to have.
yeah. Shoot, even with other people our age, like I said, if I was really worried about like being on time with everybody else, I would have already had a kid by now. Because like I said, many people in my high school didn't have kids by now, but that's not what I want. That's not what I want. No, because I don't feel like I would be a good parent right now. I definitely will say I would be a horrible parent right now.
Dang, wow. I mean, that's honest though.
Because you really got to think about it. Like, I always say the closest thing to, my kids right now is my nieces and nephews. I'm a good uncle because I might only have to spend a few hours with them. I might spend, a night with them. I only got to give them, just a little bit of time. And not saying that it's just a time thing, but like I don't have to dedicate my whole life to my nieces and nephews because they have their parents. But for me to be a whole parent, like it's my full responsibility to take care of another person, especially raising them. I know that I'm not at this moment in time, I'm not the best for that at all. Especially since I'm still in school. I ain't really got a career yet. Like, nah, I already know I would be horrible. especially with my picking women. I'm gonna have the worst baby mom of all fucking time. I don't care. And no, I'm even talking to my mom and my brother because my mom watches every episode. Mom, if I was to pick a baby mom right now, Cyrus's baby moms wouldn't be shit.
Dang.
Yeah, I'm putting it out there. I'm putting it out there. My mom has had issues with my brother's baby moms, but let me pick a baby mom right now. My mom ain't need nothing. Because somehow I'm always with some of the worst women ever. Not my current girlfriend, but my past.
Disclaimer.
I don't want her hearing this and feeling any type of way, but my past dating relationships, oh boy, it would have been a horrible parenting situation. Oh boy.
And that's a whole other topic. My let's just say my colleague was just talking about co-parenting just today, and he was
colleague. Oh, it's how you said colleague. I was like, what you mean by that?
No, like I'll just say supervisor because I don't think he's gonna watch this. But I'm not gonna out him or anything, but he was kind of talking about the difficulties when it comes to co-parenting. And that's a whole nother topic too. Something that's also in addition to me not having them is if I'm gonna have a kid like that, person's got to be A1. They have to be A1 for me to be.
See, that's something that I talked about before, where it's like, even if me and my baby mom don't stay together, I want to find someone that I feel like would be a good parent with or without a partner. Like if I drop my kids off at your place, like say it's your weekend or your week or whatever, I know my kids are still in good hands with you as a parent. Maybe as a partner, we didn't work out, but as a parent, I can trust my kids with you.
Well, yeah, and in defense of my colleague, like, he, for the most part, he says like he has a pretty good relationship with his baby mama, but there still, of course, is like other things that could still be kind of messes or traps. I don't want to say traps, but things to get through.
Mhm.
And it just makes the entire thing stressful. Like, I get kind of having, obviously, like, you can be good parents and then just not bad partners. But I think for me, it's like, it's hard to know that for sure.
Mhm.
Like, you can be good partners, but to know, I mean, bad partners, but to know that you're going to be good parents or that they're going to be a good parent, like, you really have no way of knowing that unless you have to just go through it. And I think that's the thing that scares me is you don't really have anything to bank on with that. You just have to kind of get lucky and hope that that person who it didn't work out with, who probably doesn't hate your guts or maybe hates your guts, is going to put your differences aside, all the petty mess, and be able to work together as adults to raise this kid. And a lot of people are not willing to put themselves in that position. If they look at you, they're like, you know what? I don't care. Like, you can even, what about like our kid? Like, but you're involved. And just because you're involved, they want to make your life a living hell. Doesn't matter. Like, the kid is irrelevant to them. They couldn't care
Mhm.
less about the kid.
Sometimes people be using the kid as leverage over the other person.
Exactly.
But
So,
see, now as far as that, I will say that's probably the best aspect. If I was to be a parent, that's probably my best aspect as of right now. Because you and Josh can attest to this. I'm a very loyal person. When I care about someone, I'm a ride with y'all to the very end. And that's how I am with you and Josh. Now, if that's how I'm already in with like friends and family, just imagine like a person I created. I'm gonna go hard for my kids if I have one now. So like I will say that will be forever my best aspect for my kids. I'm always gonna be their number one supporter and their number one rider.
yeah. And like I said, that's something that I'm gonna respect. And that's the thing with this whole topic is, and I would just this topic, but in general, this whole podcast, you're saying something that you firmly believe in. I'm saying something that I passionately believe in. There's no clashing heads. Like, I'm telling you exactly what it is I'm believing in, why I'm believing in it. Same thing with you. We're able to have a discussion about it. At the end of it, I understand your side better. Same with you. I'm sure, hopefully, you understand my side better.
Yeah.
There's no like, how could you like want kids or like, and I only bring that up just to say, like, I just wish topics like this were more, it doesn't, not even specifically with this, but just in general, of not having uh two very different opinions. It always has to be something that is so polarizing that people can't have a conversation about it.
But
And
see, Corey, the thing is, me and you are a very particular type of person. Because
yeah,
most people has to make an issue or a debate or whatever out of it, when really in a perfect world everybody would have their own thoughts and we could all have conversations like this. But especially with our generation, like people our age, everything got to be an issue. Like if like some, I bet you someday if you say that to someone will probably be like, what, are you kid phobic? I
yeah,
bet
no,
you. What,
no,
someone that said
you
that?
know, a baby, like, are you calling us a baby? That's not what they would be like gendered, or no,
How do
that's,
you know they want to be identified as a baby? Like
I mean, they want to be identified as the baby. Like, I don't know, like, it's just so stupid. It's so
like
stupid. I don't know.
look, I get it. People can identify as whatever they want, but it's like our generation sometimes we I'm not gonna say we, because I ain't in all that, but like Like some people take shit too far, and I feel like we all do need to learn to respect opinions. Like as long as like I said earlier, as long as people aren't being hateful, as long as they're not doing something negative or violent to anybody else, what's wrong with someone just saying a different opinion? At the end of the day, it's words. I mean, I know that words can affect people. I'm not going to sit here and act like they don't, but at the end of the day, a conversation is just all it needs to be.
So the thing is, it shouldn't affect your life.
Exactly.
Like it's what I'm doing. That's what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, I could maybe feel some type of way about it. I could feel angry or sad or what. Like I'm justified with my emotions, but like I can feel however I want. But why am I feeling so strongly about it? Is the question I would ask.
Yeah. And you know, that kind of goes back to somewhat what we were talking about on the phone before with like, especially with how people be treated B when they say that I'm, you know, when some people think that I hate them or like I'm like, you know, extra with my opinions and stuff. I just want people to know I don't really give a fuck that much. I really don't. Like, no, because I'm being serious. Some people feel like I have so much passion for what they're going through when really I don't feel nothing here. I don't. Like, there's a lot of people that think, oh, you hate this person. I don't care about nobody that much. Trust me. I don't.
Dang. So pretty much people think you put more energy than you really be putting in.
Yeah, like okay, I'm not gonna explain the full situation, but like there's times where one of Al's friends, like Al tells me about his one friend, and when I say who, which I'm really genuine, I'm not even trying to be petty. I'm just genuinely saying who because I don't remember the person. And he always describes it as the guy that you hate. And I have to explain to him, I'm like, I don't hate nobody. Hate takes energy. Like hate, there's a reason why they say hate is very close to love. Love and hate, you have an immense amount of energy towards somebody in a positive or a negative way. Trust me, I do not have that much energy for anybody like that. Like, no. Trust me, I do not care. If I don't like you, I just don't like you. That's it. If I feel indifferent about you, I just feel indifferent. Like,
You
that's
just
all
keep
it is to it. Yeah, like none of y'all affect the way that I sleep at night. So, but yeah, we need to wrap this up because I got
I think it's been
work
about
and
3 hours.
yeah, I might have to turn this into a two-parter.
No,
But
this has been way past 2 parts.
no, I can do 2 parts. The last episode was like 2 hours long. If this is 3 hours, I can just cut it to like
One hour and a half.
yeah. So that ain't nothing for me. But
This is your second longest one, or is the one with Josh still the longest one?
Josh is the longest because I actually had to cut that into 2 parts. Then he needed a whole nother episode.
Oh,
Which I mean, technically, you need a whole nother episode too, because there's some things that we had down that we didn't even talk about.
oh yeah, there was a lot of material to discuss.
But I have plans to where those things will definitely come through. Corey, don't say it because you already know the plan. But
Oh, I'm not gonna say it.
I have plans to where everybody will get their time. So but you'll find out about that in the future, guys. But thank you guys for watching another episode of the Hate It or Love It podcast. Corey, you know, plug any of your socials, or if you want people to follow you anywhere, tell them.
I don't need to be followed.
Oh
Don't
wow.
stalk me. I'll call the cops if you follow me.
Oh my god.
Actually, no, then they'll probably get me. No, never mind.
Yeah, because you're black.
Hey, so no, I don't need to nobody follow me. I'm not your savior. Do what you do.
That's your genuine answer?
Yeah, that's my genuine answer. Like, yeah.
Okay, well, Corey, you know what, his socials are plugs out there. So, all right, y'all. Corey, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm gonna definitely have you on again. And thank you guys for watching or listening, no matter how you're consuming the podcast. But with all that being said, catch y'all on the next episode, and I'm out.